Cool. Okay. Right. So, some of you haven't any idea what's been going on in where is it we live all at the moment? Shakevan. All of so a few of you don't know what's going on because you've not been around. However, to this session we're all going to meet up again. We're all going to catch up and see where we go. Just think skill checks. That's quite an important thing for you to bear in mind through this session this evening. And I'll leave you to work out what that means as we go along, but think skill checks. So we left off last week and the four of you that were here still had met up with a group of kobolds who you'd been told were nasty little red buggers, but turned out to be not this sort of war-banned, treacherous, wicked, dreadful group of creatures that not just were you told, but generally in society that is the sort of thing that gets said about kobolds. You know, if you want to scare your kids to do something, you threaten them with kobolds. That's the kind of way it is in society. But the ones that you've met since arriving here at this mine complex in the mountains, which is run by Forest Co, have turned out to be just quite a normal tribe of creatures, beings wanting to survive in their homeland. And they've been pushed out of that by the mining company. And you had quite a long encounter with them. You spoke to their leader through a translator, and you went and spent a bit of time with them and drank some tea and just kind of got to know what it is that they're about. They just want their home back. Through them you also managed to get some information about the general reality of the mine company, the fact that the workers are not happy people. The work that goes on is very much controlled through the guards. Galunda, who is the chief of the guards, is definitely keeping this place under his rule. And the head of the kobolds had asked you if you would help by making contact with some of the miners to see if there was something they could do together to try and overthrow or take control of the situation here to make life better for people. And that's where we got to. There'd been some encounters in the forest overnight when you'd gone out supposedly on patrol to try and beat up the nasty little red buggers, but that's when you'd met the kobolds. Some of you were slightly less successful at finding your way home than others, and had a couple of incidents which resulted in you being a little bit exhausted by the time you got back to the mine town. And you met Galanda, who was not that impressed with the fact that you'd been out all night and not really done what he expected you to do with your patrol. But you were interrupted by someone running down from the mine road, telling him that something had happened in the mines, and he just, as is his wont, he's very good at turning his back on you in the middle of the conversation and just buggering off. And he's striding into the mines and is basically calling you lot to follow him. So we find Phil and Tamara and Gwyn and Howard in that sort of, go slightly to your right, in that middle of that rock outcrop. Galanda has shot off up the road towards the and you lot were hot-footing it after him in pursuit to see what's going on. And as you do that, as you trek up the road, as you make your way up that road to see what's happening, you become aware of two people who you've not seen in a short time. Coming out of the trees on the left of the path, you see Adalola, just sauntering along as if she's been around all the time, Got anything to say to the group who you've not seen for the last 24 hours?
Howdy. You look awful. Truly awful.
Gwyn's exhausted, so there's grass stains on him. Actually, he's wearing a scrap of clothing anyway, and that scrap's got a little tear in. And he's just really looking.
You look like a troll has had his way with you. Are you sure you're okay?
I tried to get it
night.
Yeah, we all know what Gwyn's like when he gets on the emeralds.
That's why. Well,
Cool. And then over the rocks on the other side of the road, as you just sort of continue to make your way, you see just stood on the rocks, looking like he's been there
Whole time.
forever.
The whole time.
You see Mal just
Was it on
watching you.
on these rocks by here, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of looking down and
Walking backwards.
I'd imagine I'll have my tag along as well, wouldn't I?
yes. So he will have come with you. He
stayed with me, yeah.
He stayed in the city. He was
Kevin.
adamant
Yeah.
that he was going to stay there.
Kevin
Oh,
as well.
Kevin.
Kevin, who's quite tall for a 15-year-old, but yeah, he's just trotting along behind you, carrying stuff, and yeah, probably has talked for the whole journey, non-stop, just constantly, to the point when, at one point when he wasn't watching, you got some moss from the ground and you shoved it in your ears just to try and blot out this constant, yes sir, but if we did this, and when I was in the tower this happened, and perhaps we could do this, and just on and on and on and on. Nothing really deep or offensive, just monotonous. Constant. Yeah. Because, you've decided that Tamara's the one that's got to suffer looking after him, but you're going to suffer too.
At any point, did you regret the decision bringing Kevin?
No.
Don't do regrets.
No.
Don't do regrets.
Every decision's the correct decision.
So you see them stood on the rock out in front of you, and you've not seen them since you left town, and that's been 3 or 4 days, wasn't it? Because you travelled across the lake, you stopped, you met the caravan, you had to travel with them for a couple of days until you got to the mine. So yeah, 3 or 4 days, and you'd been missing for a day or so beforehand after the incident in the house. So this will be the first time you've seen them all since the fight and the excessive use of violence against
Feels so
intruders.
long ago.
Chances are I probably came back after they already left, just so I can get my stuff.
Any chance we've forgotten about?
Who are you?
I mean, as a
Is he one of
lawyer,
the
can't
intruders in
remember
our house?
anything that happened that night in town. You don't remember what happened in the house at all, do you? It's just a blur. People got killed, right?
She wasn't even in the house in
I
the
don't-
first place, so.
Yeah, I don't remember any deaths. What?
Killing everyone.
Just a real mist.
So this group have been together for not a great length of time, less than a month, really, in reality, since they met up and boarded a ship, not knowing each other, got involved very quickly in having to sort of work out how to benefit from each other's skills in order to stay alive.
Still not 100% sure.
Still not sure about how to benefit from each other's skills. But they've begun to sort of realise that each of them brings something that can benefit the rest of them. They've solved a few problems for the city that they're currently living in, or their base, Sunderstad, which is a harbour city. And because they helped the city out, they've been given, for as long as they need it, an old warehouse to use as a
Murder base.
as a murder base, yeah. And a ship, which Adalola has acquired.
Who would have known it would make her so bloodthirsty? That was unexpected.
Yeah.
Finally
It's
become
the old
the captain.
pirate days are really just coming back, aren't they? And they've decided they want to try and they're heading for some mountains to see if they can locate a villain, basically, who was banished from the city, but they believe he's responsible for the disappearance of some wizards in the city. And Kevin, the tall character here, is a apprentice to the wizards who witnessed this dreadful thing happen, and when it did, the wizards managed to embed themselves in his mind. Although they've been banished to another plane somewhere, another world, he carries them in his mind, and they speak through him, but only when he's back in the magic tower. Malvarth, who's a paladin, who's very much about doing the right thing and good and pursuing the right things as the gods tell him to, didn't feel it was right to leave this poor 15-year-old apprentice in the tower, and so has basically adopted him, although he has handed over most of the responsibilities to Tamara for that, for which she is eternally grateful. It is something she longs for, is responsibility for other people, isn't it?
It's something I really needed, was an extra responsibility in someone else's life.
It's fine, because I've got my own life in my own hands.
So some of them made it up to this mine, this town. They were hired by a company in the city to come and help deal with an invasion, some attacks by some kobolds, little red creatures, lizardy type creatures. And they took the job and they made their way up here, but they discovered that things aren't quite what they were led to believe, and they've found themselves now about to go into the mines following the head of the security. And as you stand on the road making your welcomes, you hear Galander, as he disappears down the mine shaft, just sort of look over his shoulder and say, if you're coming, come now or stay out.
And I believe someone took the first step.
Yeah, nice of us to join us. Nice of you to join us, Captain, and surprisingly sneaky in that armour today. But we'll catch up later. And yeah, Horst books it after Galander.
Cool. So you're going to up the road, following him as fast as you can. The guards that are on the entrance, guarding the entrance, sort of look at you just slightly and look at him, and he just nods, and that you can see he's basically said, "There with me." So the rest of you following?
I'll go like I'm with them.
Yeah, I'll see Horst go, and that'll be my spare. Okay. And I'll walk, and I'll look over to the captain, and give a little eye, and carry on going.
Give a little eye, yeah. Hiya, Captain. Is that what you mean?
Tamara's going to attempt to keep up with Horse so she's not left with
Cool.
Malvarth and
I would have
Big
picked you
Bill.
up. I would have picked you up.
You would notice as well there is a new scar on Tamara.
Yeah.
So I just glare at them going, how? Why?
Wish we could tell you.
Someone's in danger. And
So
you
one
see
of the
follow-
things that's been happening in recent days in the city and through various events is some of their personalities have sort of clashed over certain things that they've done and the way they've handled things. So one of the things about Dungeons and Dragons is when you create a character, you start with this sort of personality traits that you write for them, and you get to sort of write a backstory and who you are and where you've come from. But you also have this thing called an alignment, which basically tells you whether you're a good person or a evil person, whether you are someone that's lawful, so will do things the way the rules say, or a bit chaotic, or whether you're just sort of down the middle, you're a bit sort of take it as it comes. And some of those alignments are starting to mean that there have been a few disagreements about choices and a little bit of edge that's gone on between this lot, which is all good fun. Yeah. So we'll
Just as long as someone
pick
doesn't.
you up. Just if you
well,
just
he
kind of
can walk
watch
again,
what
we'll be
happens.
fine.
Basically, I will try and paint the scene of what's happening and what's going on, and then let this lot tell the story of what they want to do. And at various points, when they say they want to do something, there may be a requirement for them to use the dice to find out whether they're successful at what they want to do. It'll kind of make sense as it goes along. Honest. I've been promising that for several months now. But... So you're all going to join the queue? Cool.
Yep.
Doll's going to be at the back.
Okay.
I will pick up Tamara because I know she'll struggle to keep up with all of us.
Angelona's gonna side up to Gwyn.
Cool.
Mara's just going to be very, very quiet.
Is
The
Adelone
first time
got
ever.
Frankie with her?
Yes.
Frankie is with her, okay.
Ah. Where is Frankie? On your
Circling
shoulder?
overhead.
No, so.
On your hand.
No, circling overhead.
Circling overhead, okay. Coming down the mine or not?
Yes. Yeah.
So they're going to come down to you.
Mhm.
Cool, okay. So this is a bird. Wild bird. So the mine shaft continues into the hill. So you very quickly, you see it disappear, you see some rail tracks that lead down into the darkness. It's not completely dark because you can see that there are torches and lanterns on the sides of this roughly hewn tunnel that disappears down into the rock face in front of you. And it goes for maybe 30 metres or so into this darkness. Galander is trotting along at quite a pace, and the rest of you are just going to have to kind of keep up with him. And we're going to come in over here.
And can I ask, is Galander on his own, or?
So there's the guy that came to tell him that something had happened, and the two of them are sort of marching, almost double pacing down past the track.
Are you here as well, Phil?
Yeah, I think he's following that.
Yeah.
So the tunnels that you come into are ancient. They are carved out of the rock, they've been hewn out of the rock. In some places there are wooden beams holding up the ceilings and holding back sections of the wall. There seem to be panels of wooden planks. This rail track just leads straight down this fairly straight passageway. As you follow Galander, you see, you go past one little tunnel on your left. It just seems to go into a short passage. You can see a few bits of equipment and stuff down there. You continue following him, until you come into an area that seems to split. The track goes in two different directions. You go past another area on your right that seems to have some torches in there that illuminate various buckets and sort of bowls of water. You see that there's at least one or two individuals in there that seem to be washing themselves off. You follow the track to the right, and you continue following him all the way up until you come into this large chamber in which there is quite a lot of activity. There are miners going backwards and forwards. These miners are humans, dwarves, half-orcs, some half-elves even in there. There's a mix of people, halflings. It's a real mix of characters. You also see, as you keep your eyes fixed on Galander, that there are quite a lot of the guards around, sort of keeping an eye, very clearly keeping an eye on what's going on with the miners. The miners that you see seem very subdued, and they're just busy getting about their work. When Galander comes through, you note they're all aware of him, but then they sort of like get back onto whatever it is that they're.
Are we able
doing.
to see, are any of the miners sort of, let's say, a bit bolder than any of the others? Are any of them sort of perhaps signifying themselves as sort of head of the group, or?
At this moment, you're pursuing Galander. Give me a perception check. We're now sort of, everybody is up now near where there's the wheel and the pool. If you could just move all the characters in there.
19.
Whose side are you on?
You don't spot anybody in particular. There are one or two faces that seem to linger a little longer, taking notice of what's going on before they then get their heads back down. Can we move everybody up towards that corner? So we're up in, sort of where the machinery is now.
Do the miners have tools like pickaxes, shovels,
Yeah,
that sort of thing?
yeah.
I thought my journey of with Kevin was exhausting.
And you can see that they are sort of quite surprised to see you all, but they just get back on with what they're doing. And so you come out into this quite large chamber that's been carved out of the rocks, and right in the middle is this large grime encrusted machine. There's steam coming out of part of it, and you can see some sort of stove device in it. There's this giant bellows that are there as well, and it looks like somehow there's ore that gets fed into it, and crushing happening, and the water wheel dries some bits of the machinery, and there's quite a large crowd gathered around this machinery. Can you all do me an intelligence check, please? Investigation.
Investigation.
I don't have good on that either. 17.
17.
5.
Investigation.
Is it on TV? Is it on TV?
Plus 1.
Is it this one we're talking about?
Yeah.
Investigation.
Or-
Not this.
17.
No,
23.
would have been 22.
It's not 1, so I'm not.
Okay. Oh, okay. So most of you, what you just see is some strange machinery that seems to be making a lot of noise and a lot of steam, and has a lot of attention. As you look at it, your kind of mind just ticks a bit, and you see what's going on. It looks to you that this is probably a device which is about crushing ore, either just to get it smaller or to break out other components of it. But there is a big crowd gathered around this machine at the moment, and right in the middle of that crowd you see a dwarf who is screaming in agony, and you can see that he's actually got his arm stuck inside this machine, trapped inside it, right up to his shoulder, and it sort of seems to be stuck into some gearing system of the machine, and he's slumped against the device. You can see blood starting to sort of come out from the sleeve of his jacket, and he's trying to pull himself free. And as you get close to it, Gallagher sort of just stops, and he just says, "Damn it, what's going on? Not another interruption to the work." And he shoves his way through past the people that are there, and when they realise it's him, they sort of back off, and quite a few of them instantly go back to getting on with their work.
Am I near Galindo and the guy here? Like, would it be this end or would it be?
It's sort of where the steam is where he is generally sort of trapped. I need everybody now to do a skill check. Now you can choose which kind of skill check you want. You could. What I want you to try and do is tell me what is it you would want to do in this situation. What would be your immediate reaction to what's going on?
Personally, mine would be going to try and look after the guy, trying to. My first action, I think, would be to try and go cast Cure Wounds or something and hold the
Okay.
bleeding.
So we're not going to do a
Yeah.
action. Just generally, what is your initial desire? What do you want to achieve in this moment?
Stop the machine.
So you want to try and do something to stop the machine. Okay. So that needs to be athletics check for me, please.
Am I able to make a medicine check on the guy?
You could do, yeah, you can do
Can
medicine
I-
check.
That's a 16.
Okay.
Can I also go to try and help me because the poor man's suffering and aid?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are
Medicine?
you're not applying medical aid. It's just what is it you're trying to achieve?
You-
I'm trying to help soothe his pain.
Okay, so calm him down a bit.
Yeah.
So that's going to be persuasion. Charisma, see if you can just calm him down. So you bustle in. Yes, let's make way, and everyone's just like, oh, what's going on here? So it didn't really seem to calm the situation down much whatsoever. You are already working out what you could tap with a large hammer or something heavy to stop this going, and you're pretty confident that you could do this right now.
Horst, as Gallagher sort of started shouting about not wanting to stop work and being frustrated about that, he kind of wants to stamp his authority a little bit and try and take a little bit of control of the situation. So he's going to walk towards, I assume Gallagher sort of stood in front of the machine, He knows that he's not the best with injuries and that sort of thing, and he's too stupid to work out how the machine works. So he's just going to go and shove Gallagher out of the way and sort of puff himself up a little bit and try and block.
Okay, so intimidation, please. See if you can do that. You wanted to try something medical.
Yeah.
What was your result?
I wanted to calm down and I only got
10.
10. Yours was a 9.
Disadvantage 9.
9.
6 total.
6.
But a natural one.
Okay, so we'll come back to that in a second. So when we roll 20-sided dice, so that's the big dice that generally we use for lots of
I feel like I'm
checks.
going to be the only one who's
The best you can score is 20, the worst you can get is a 1. If you get a 20, and I will try and tell people what they're trying to score, but if you get a 20, we call that a natural 20. It's a really good roll,
I did get told
and
that you
something
got lost in the woods.
extra good will happen. If you roll a 1, it's exactly the opposite. Whatever it is
Did you
you've
give him
tried,
mushrooms or something?
it's going to go badly.
Or did you give him mushrooms?
Generally. What's Adalona's?
Well, having
Instant.
seen everyone rush forward to help, I want to understand, off our person's comment, I want to understand how many times has this happened before? Is there like an indication of pools of blood everywhere or dried blood on the
Okay,
machine?
so an investigation check just in the area. What's Phil up to?
I want to look at. So the people that walked away,
That went back,
yeah.
get on with what
Can
they're
I like sort of try and devise whether it was out of fear, whether it's because they don't like the person that's been injured, whether it's because they don't like Gallagher, you know?
Yeah, perception check for me, please. So at this point, as you're sort of trying to work out what's going on, you were
Well,
12. Okay, so it's a good job you're back, really, isn't it?
I just kicked the machine.
Okay, so you're trying to sort of calm this guy down and he's shouting. You start to try and impress Gallagher and look like you're going to take control. It doesn't go well, and his reaction is just simply to turn around and punch you in the face, and you take 4 points of damage. Okay, and he just turns back round away from you, and he's trying to get on with what's going on. It's unclear, really, kind of whether this has happened frequently or what's happened just from what you can see physically around you. What you see is just that this man looks like he's about to lose his arm, and your instant reaction is that, shit, there's nothing I can do really here. I'm not quite sure. You kind of looking around the people.
I got a 6.
Go get it drunk.
Again, there's so much going on and so much noise, you're not really able to focus on that. But what does happen is you hear this almighty whack and this sort of creaking sound, and you see that the wheel stops turning in this sort of fairly gently but or slowly but quite powerfully flowing river. You can see part of there. It stops. The bellows, which were going up and down, just, and the machinery and the cogs, which were all starting to sort of judder and push around, they all just stop. And you turn around and see Miles there with this huge piece of metal that he's picked up off the floor, wedged into the wheel, which is now stopped, and he's now fighting against that.
I'm like, right, let's get him out now. And I will do like lay on hands to
Okay. So between you, now that the machinery has stopped, and you see Gallagher is kind of he's really pissed off with you. He's had a couple of snidey remarks from you right from the onset, and you can see that this is really winding him up. But he also recognised something quite decisive in what you did in stopping that machinery. He's not really noticed the rest of you as you've been sort of doing whatever.
so you can try it.
But he watches as you just come together and you start to sort of pull some of the gear wheels around and you just twist a little bit. Those of you that have got any sort of medical abilities are able just to help start to just calm him down a little bit. You can see he's already just calmed the fact that the machinery has been stopped. And it takes maybe another 10 or 15 minutes, but eventually you manage to release him from this machinery. And his arm is hanging limp down by his side, or sort of you can see that the bones have clearly been crushed. There's a lot of damage to his arm. So he's ashen white and sort of barely holding it together. As you go around this, Galander sort of pushes his way past you again until he's over the top of this guy, and he looks at him and he just says, "Clem, you've been trained how to use this machine. This is your fault. You're just so clumsy and incompetent. I'm going to be right into Stonemar, and you can pack your bags and go." Enough.
From the back of this, after seeing him hit him and then go and talk to one of his workers like that, I want to pick up a rock and throw it at the back of his head.
Okay, so give me.
But I want to try and do it without him seeing me.
So
I want to like
so
skip
I'll
a rock at
jump
him.
between them and go, this man's injured.
Okay, so you're going to try throwing a rock. So see if you can hurl a rock.
What am I? What, do I just roll for attack?
Yeah, roll an attack as if you were throwing a dagger or something like that.
11.
Misses. The rock just around
Worth
the
a try.
walls. And you're going to push yourself in between. Okay. And
I'll just make myself big and imposing. And like, the man's injured, you should care more about the safety of your workers than than your productivity.
he looks you in the face and just says, "I have the authority in this place from the company to make these decisions. It's my job. If you don't like it, get out."
Can I take a quick gander at the rest of my party of their opinion of him, because I don't know what it is.
We're like,
Because I'm debating whether
we're pretty
to just
disgusted in this
Gwyn-
guy, to be fair.
Gwyn's
I'm debating because from the really small thing I've seen of him, is my first gut instinct is to just headbutt him.
Forces
Do
his chin from where he took the punch, but he's smirking as well. He's enjoying how much Galander was sort of wound up by him. You can see he pushed some buttons there, and he's happy that he's got under his skin a bit.
Gwyn's a bit more heart on his sleeve in a sense, and is really wanting to just
The fact that
see
he's
this
threatening
man
to
go
sack an injured man just because of a workplace accident.
So you got a fairly good idea of what Phil thinks about him, because even though he didn't notice, you saw Phil pick up quite a substantial rock and sort of hurl it in the general direction.
Miss.
Tomorrow's
Give
my
me an
next turn.
intimidation check. Anybody wants to add to sort of support him in that? In there?
Natural 20
Oh,
for a 25 in total.
fabulous. Okay. So just by gauging what everybody else senses, you kind of have a feeling this guy needs to be just brought down a peg or two, and so I challenge him. on
Fellow,
this.
do you know who we are? Do you know what we're capable of?
He looks at you,
Pathetic
and you see him sort of look around the room. You can see there's those people that have gone back to work are sort of. It's his shock. You can see some of the guards that have been milling around. This doesn't normally happen, and he stands there and he looks around and he looks at each one of you and he says, "Fine, shut the machine down, get him out, get him sorted, and then let's get it going again as soon as we can." And he turns round and he heads out of the chamber.
Oh, I hate him so much.
And then he turns back over his shoulder and he looks around the room and says, "The rest of you, get back to work, you're on the clock." And he heads off. So you're now left in the chamber. You've got this dwarf with his arm barely hanging
I
on,
will turn my attention to
several
the dwarf then.
other people that are sort of getting on with their work. You're conscious that there are two individuals in particular who seem to have not left this dwarf. There is another dwarf. You recognise that she is a female dwarf by the intricate braids in the beards, as opposed to just the of beard. Beards are really important for dwarfs, and female dwarfs wear them as proudly as the male dwarfs do. And she's just been sort of hanging much closer to what's going on. She's not made her way back to work at the moment. And then there's another individual, another dwarf that's standing nearby, looking on another female, and they're just sort of watching what's going on. This dwarf is kind of breathing very heavy. You can see that he's struggling.
Am I able to cast, if he's still struggling, am I able to cast Cure Wounds on him to see if that will help ease any of his pain? 1d8. 5 plus 4, so 9 points.
Okay, so you're able to start administering some magical healing, and as well as just bits of cloth and stuff you're wrapping around. And
as this soon I'll be saying, you know, this guy, I don't know how you guys work for, it's despicable.
you can see he's kind of barely able to really hear what you're saying. He's just concentrating on keeping himself alive. And your character is one of the two dwarves that have been stood nearby watching going on, and you introduce yourself as Torquat, and you are one of the miners in the caverns, and you tell the group, you just go in and you say, how is Clem? Is he okay? No, we're waiting to see whether they've got anything to say. You've asked the question.
Well, he's alive, barely, but he is breathing still.
You're going to see a very short woman, dark skin and very long hair, dark hair, very, very much upset that a dwarf is injured, and is quite clearly trying to aid him any way she can, which would be with dwarves as well.
So your character, you've been working in the mine for a few months. You live in the city, but you, for various reasons, needed to make your way up to the mine. You needed some work, you needed some money. This wouldn't be your perfect, ideal place. You've heard the rumours about how bad they treat the people, but it was money, and some other folks were coming this way, and you came up. The guy who's been injured is a guy called Clem, and since you've been here, you've identified that Clem is one of the old timers. He's quite an old dwarf. He's got really sort of rugged face. You can see it's kind of scarred by all sorts of incidents and things that have gone on. Big ginger hair with bits of grey sort of poking out. A very down-to-earth guy, but someone who keeps an eye out for the new people. So he's quite important. He's important to you because he's made sure you've been okay since you've come up to the mines. So you're quite happy to see that there are people who seem to care, because generally that's not the way things go here. Whilst the miners care, they're mostly too afraid to stand up to what goes on. And the other dwarf who's with you, she sort of walks over and she introduces herself as Emery. Again, she's been working in the mines for some time, and she just says, she whispers as she looks at you, she says, I'll speak to you later. And she just heads off out the camp. So all that are left with you now are just the group and Clem, who is kind of muttering occasionally, and you see, despite you've stopped him dying, but he is in serious injury. Your cure wounds will have made some magical repair to the flesh, but you know that beneath that is a bone that is totally broken.
I was going to say I'm not good at that sort of stuff.
Do you think Clem would be willing to pay a visit to some friends of ours who might be able to help a bit more?
So this is where you get to make it up.
Right, okay.
So you might need to explain a bit more, because for your character, you can't imagine, well, where, who are you going to take him to? There generally aren't people that help out around here.
Horse has a little plants around. Are the guards and things within earshot?
There's
Or
one guard sort of just wandering backwards and forwards. There are a few people still working away, and you can see that the mine is quickly getting back up to speed again. There's a couple of other characters that are starting to look at what they can
I
do.
would say my intimidation of him has probably gone up, but the guards are like, yeah, go stay clear.
as the sort of noise of the mine, everything picks up a bit. Horse hushes his voice and sort of leans a bit closer to Chorakat, and he'll say, we met some friends that may be a bit more sympathetic. Maybe you could be sympathetic to them as well. I don't know much about those things, but some of them had some fancy sticks that look like they could do a bit of a better medicine job than we can do here. And he looks like he's in a bad way. Maybe we could take him there.
Won't be able to help him if we don't.
Did you manage to stop the bleeding?
The bleeding stops. You can see that the flesh is sort of magically, there's some healing taking place. It's going to be scarred forever.
But
But
he's
you
not
know that,
immediate danger.
no, he's stable.
Probably have to act quick so we can actually set his arm. But
Can you see the joy in his as he talks about setting the bone?
yeah, just a line.
Last session, did we speak to somebody that said Clem was like the, I don't know, the one who like managed the workers? He was the guy who sort of.
I was trying to remember. I don't know if we identified anyone.
Clem, but
The name Clem rang a bell, and I weren't sure. So I don't know. I can't remember if we.
Either way, I think we need to get him to some proper medical attention.
Cool.
And if I'll just look to you and say, who's normally the leader of, who normally looks after all of you? Who'd be the leader of the miners?
Would it be Clem? Yeah, he looks after everyone. So I think I need to look after him and let you help him.
I'll look at Horst. So, yep, let's get him in.
As you're sort of having this conversation, the one guard that's still wandering around just a little tentatively sort of looks over and says, you heard what Gallagher said, you need to get him out, get him back to his dormitory, get him packed.
we'll sort it. Don't worry.
You try to say it as authoritatively as possible without being too threatening.
With two people
Very
and
nice,
openly gone.
Yeah, you can see he's probably due a trip to the toilet.
So yeah, okay.
Very, very thing against two people that have openly spoken against his boss.
Did he hurt you?
Still got all my teeth. It's fine, isn't it?
Still got
Beard's great.
Beard?
Yeah,
Most of his
Most.
Huh?
great.
Still need to find a barb to neaten it up a little bit, but that can wait for another day maybe.
I can do that. I'm sufficient in disguises and makeup.
Okay. Yeah, maybe later we
need to
could.
disguise the.
Maybe later we can.
Need to disguise that trash.
So you would know where his dormitory is, which one of the buildings is his dormitory, as would obviously Clem himself, but he's less sort of coherent in things. But you would know how to lead the party back out.
Let's say, go to the dorms, grab your stuff, and then go to the friends you were talking about.
I think maybe we can just bypass the dorm and get him
And go
there
straight to the friends. He needs it.
as,
That's fine then.
as soon as we can.
They'll be on the edge of the village. They won't be far.
We might have to do this a bit slyly though. They're going to wonder where we're taking him.
Leaving the village is what they asked.
True.
And as you're having this bit of conversation, Clem leans in close to you and says, I need to get my things before we go anywhere.
You can be insistent.
Right, okay. So, yeah, well, we need to go get his things. What he says goes, he's the one that's hurt.
Okay.
No problem there.
As you want.
If it will help in the next bit.
Sure.
Shouldn't take long anyway.
Can you walk, Clem? Or?
Yeah, it's his arm, obviously, it was injured. And
Well, would help
with
him
a
up
bit of
and-
support.
Would help him up and try and do the best to like
Cool.
kind of bandage his arm like.
And as you come together around him and start, you all going off together? I'm just looking in this direction because this is normally where Phil says, I'm just going to disappear into the background.
I'm just gonna.
Won't be doing any of that, mate. I'm
He's
exhausted,
He's
huh?
regretting his really
just
poor
gonna-
throw earlier.
Nothing
Put
happened.
my hand
I
on.
only wish they'd have hit him.
Yeah, that's okay.
And,
You
we'll
regret
just
the
hold
poor
back
throw.
and
Still thinking
keep
of doing it
watching.
again.
So you're going to stay in the mine,
Not in the mine, as sort of
follow behind us.
follow behind
Okay.
and not enter Clem's residence
Cool.
or anything. Just
So you and are going to kind of lead the way because you know where you're going. You're going to just take the party up, back through the entrance to the mine, back onto the track. And the track is a couple of 100 yards down into the town as it's called, but it's basically just some dormitory buildings, quite a lot of storerooms and warehouses and offices, and the one building that you've already been in, which was the tavern, the sort of makeshift tavern. And you're able to lead him through. As you come up through the mine, you can see as you pass groups of people working, they see you and they see Clem and they see this group, and there's a lot of interest and you can see concern on people's faces as you make your way out. And you get to the dormitory. You make your way through the dormitory. Nobody seems to be paying too much attention to you from an official sort of capacity. The dormitories are very simple buildings, quite long wooden buildings with lots of beds in there. There's a big sort of cast iron stove at one end to heat the room. Each bed has got a small box next to it. Very crude, simple beds and boxes. And you know which one is Clem's, and you're able to go up there, and as you do that he sort of opens up the chest with his good arm, and he's digging inside for something, and he doesn't really want anybody to see what's going on, and he tucks something away inside some pockets and inside his jerkin.
I think I'll probably
clothes.
understand that going to Horsman, like, can you give me a recap of actually what's like going on? Like
Not
literally
yet.
just knowing.
Oh yeah.
No?
But just follow us. As we were on the way out of the mine, I think Paul sort of been merrily discussing options with Tamara about different styles of moustaches and beards and that sort of thing. But he is going to keep a little eye out on.
Okay.
Can he spot what is in mind there, or?
What you see is that there's several carts going past with those that are full seem to have quite a lot of just pretty standard granity looking rock, but there are these sort of little veins of a bluish crystal. It seems quite dull, lost in the rock and in the dust, but you can see that would seem to be what it is they're trying to get out. And you see in the walls as you're going through these little veins that poke through occasionally.
And as Clem was sort of can I look up and see if I can see what he was.
Yeah, investigation check.
Come on.
Whilst this is going on, the other dwarf that hung around a little bit in the cave.
Natural 20.
Okay, you don't see any gems. You see some what look like some documents, coins. None of these things in the mine. The other dwarf that was hanging around, you know her as Emery. She is an older dwarf, and she was in the mine way before you got here. Probably the next longest serving sort of miner after Clem, and she sort of makes her way into the dormitory, and you can see she comes in quite furtively through the door and looks around and closes the door behind her, and she comes up to the group. she introduces herself and says, Emery, thank you for helping my friends. It's not something we're used to here, and I'm sure you will have spotted that people are not happy in the mines. It's not the first time we've had an accident like this.
We can see you're not happy, and you can probably see the obvious reason why. Ganonder's quite the charmer, and the conditions there look pretty poor. Are you?
They're dreadful, and if you've come here for employment, I'd say go and look elsewhere. This is not a place you want to be working.
Are you here of your own free will? Or? Sorry.
I'm here because I need money. I live in the city, and my father is an artificer, and I followed in his skills, and we work with intricate machines, and he makes devices and things, but it costs money, and so I came to try and get some money to help pay for some of the things that he's been working on.
We met your father.
I wouldn't know.
Hengist?
Oh, I know who you're talking about, yes. Yeah, Hengist the Odd.
Hengist the Odd, but...
No, that's not my father, but my father knows Hengist. This is, I'm here because I need money, but as soon as I can, I'd be gone.
Is it the same for you?
Yeah, I would leave if I could. I need the money.
Have you had any encounters with the Kobolds? Or?
So you will know pretty much the same as Emery that you've been told by the guards that the Kobolds are trouble, that they want to destroy everything here, and that's why they have to go and send out the patrols every night to try and keep the Kobolds away, and if they didn't do that, the Kobolds would overrun the mines. You've heard tale from people like Clem about the fact that when they first came into the mines, what they found was the remnants of what looked like a sort of a community. It looked like this was somewhere that was where people lived, but as the mining had started, those people had long since disappeared, and the things you've managed to put together would suggest that this used to be where the Kobold tribe lived, and now they've been kicked out. Emma is quite open to any other questions that you might have of her at this time.
I don't have any.
What is the bluish crystal that we see coming out of mine?
I have no idea what its purpose is, but I know that Forest Co are really keen to get as much of it out as they can.
Has there been a recent evolution in the miner? Has it always been that blue crystal?
I think the crystal's always been here, but I think maybe there is some new purpose or use of it that means that there's now an interest in getting it out of the ground.
Do we see any blue crystal near us? Is there any there?
Not in the dormitory, no.
We know they use it to enhance weapons, right? Because they enhanced our
think
weapons.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Does it have any magical abilities built in? Does it?
Emery the pair of you, this is way over our pay grade sort of thing. We just get it out of the ground sort of stuff. We don't ask too many questions. We just do what we're told. We do it as quietly as possible. Sometimes things go wrong. We've had, in the time I've been here, there's been at least 7 accidents like that one today, and at least 3 people have died as a consequence. And
And how long have you been here?
about a year now.
I'd like
So
to
it's a
feel
lot of
like start
accidents in
a
a
minor
year.
uprising.
We'd obviously like to help
Where do we get filled?
help Clem, but also maybe offer you all some help as well. We met last night with Krista and Tar, the 2 of the kobolds that live out in the woods surrounding here, and they told us that they used to live in the mines.
So So this would be quite a shock to you that they have had conversations with the Kobolds, because you've been told that they're nasty little red buggers and vicious things.
They are what they seem.
But you see that there's some certainly interest in what you're saying, and Emery says, well, I know that there are a lot of us that would like to do something to change what's going on, but we just don't have the strength. We just don't know what to do. If we could get organised, I think we could kind of stand up to them and stop the way we're treated. I mean, we need to work, and we'd work here if we were allowed to work in decent ways. And I don't know what about the Kobolds, but if there's some way we can work in a way that doesn't affect them, then that would be great. But we just need help to be able to stand up to Gallender and the security, because they're the ones that control everything here. But I don't know how we would do that.
Would you be willing to come with us to talk? Both of you, the Kobolds, just hear their story, and we'll try and...
So Emery looks at you and looks at Clem and is like, do we?
I think it's worth hearing the story.
Sounds like we're coming.
Stronger together than you feel individually.
Oh, that sounds like something we should write down.
Reaches into his pocket and pulls out Unison pen and just hands it.
No, hold on. She'll pull out her lute and start strumming out her song along those lines.
Together stronger.
Cool.
Wasn't that like Wales' Song of the Euros?
Emery sort of looks and she says, she looks at you a little bit, and then she looks around and she says, I think maybe the fact that you guys are new here, people might listen to you. People might be prepared to be encouraged to try to stand up against it if they felt. I mean, they've seen that you will stand up to Gallender, and maybe there's something you could do to persuade them to come together. Perhaps it's something somewhere where we could kind of form a group or an organisation that basically said, we're not going to do this unless you get treated properly.
I think you need a union. I think you need to unionize.
A union? What is a union?
A collective bargaining tool.
This is the NHS man.
I'd say that coming from the two people that actually lived in the cities, kind of.
Boston, but no, there was no fishermen's union. maybe an idea he'll take. The fishermen unionising against him for sure. What have we done to you?
Unionising for
You can see this sound was kind of like the most exciting thing that you've heard for ages. All you've heard basically is get on and do your job, stop moaning. No, you've got no money, you've had your wages.
Yeah, and it sounded more like slave labour than it actually.
And you get to explain to them that you get paid sort of like £5 a week or whatever it is, or a month. But by the time you've paid for the food that you have to eat here and the equipment that you have to replace, there's nothing left. And whilst you thought you'd be able to save money to send home, to help your dad, to help whatever it is, there's never any left. And it's so hard. If you do have a few coppers left, you just drink it. That's just the way it goes, and that's what everybody else does here.
It's piss poor, that ale, it's not worth your coin.
We tried it, it was terrible.
Try to get some.
So do you think, is this something you can help us do? Do you think your friends would help us as well?
They'd be very interested.
Maybe we should try
say they'll be more, from what I can tell from what you guys are saying, they'll be interested in working together with you.
They'll be very interested. It's their
But they want their home back.
They want their home back.
But they said they were happy to make the mine work with the miners as opposed to completely taking over.
Yeah, they didn't want us to just.
Perhaps we should go, because Gallender will be checking up soon to see. Now he said that Clem's got to go, he would expect him to go.
My issue is once we get rid of him, is there's nothing stopping the company from sending someone just as bad as him.
But I mean,
Or
that's
worse.
where if we encourage everybody here to stick together,
Unionise.
unionise
together.
and stronger together,
Mhm.
fight the power, as it were.
Rage against the machine.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
To be fair, I can't stand big corporates, so
Yeah, I think that maybe show Forest Co that they need to address their working practices.
Cool. So you make way out to the dormitory, and you kind of just check out what's going on around the camp. The day has moved on quite a lot by the time you've sort of dealt with getting out the machinery and sorting stuff out. You're probably drifting into the late afternoon now. The town looks pretty much like it did when you came in. People are just getting on doing things. The odd guard player looks in your general direction but isn't paying too much attention to you.
Based off our trek through the woods, and we went straight into the mine and have come back out. What is this sort of? I may have missed it. Sorry. Is this sort of in the morning? Is this in the
Afternoon.
late afternoon.
Into the late afternoon. Yeah.
The guards aren't paying particular attention to us. It's more just if they see us on their normal route as opposed to their watching us, right?
Yeah. So you make your way out of the main compound and you just follow your way through the tracks a little bit. You're looking for the kobolds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do Quinn and Phil remember how to get to?
Yeah, I
do you
think
remember the
Phil's got really, really good memory of how to get through.
going down a cliff face? Was it?
I think I remember some of it.
I don't remember actually what happened. I remember that we had trouble getting back and then we were exhausted. I don't remember what happened in between actually there and getting back.
Okay.
It's the exhaustion for you.
I don't, you said a load of stuff and I've completely forgotten it. I apologise.
You sit down the side of a sort of shale
Yeah.
slope on one of the paths.
Exactly.
And that's why you took damage and I didn't.
I just keep thinking the amount of shit to get themselves
Damn
into
it.
when I'm not there.
You walk perhaps a mile, following some tracks, sort of trying to recall some of the bits of the forest that you remember. All of you just kind of pulling this together, and you make your way to a clearing which seems familiar to you, and as you sort of stand there, you've got Clem with you and you've got Emery and Torkhard is with you, and there, as you sort of make your way into the clearing, sort of just appearing from out of the woods nearby, you see Mania, the leader of the caravan that was bringing the supplies up and down. She sort of hails you, well met. I hear there's been interesting things going on.
You could say that. Captain, do you think Franklin might be able to keep an eye and make sure we're not being followed? Or?
It's a really good idea. Sorry, my travels have been exhausting too. Should have thought of that. Yeah, let's send Franklin to there to have a look see. Keep track of us.
She says, I believe you're acquainted with a friend of mine, Krista.
Ah.
And she's asked me to tell you to wait here. She'll meet you soon if you would be so good.
Sneaky devil.
Does it? Does she seem genuine when she's saying this? Is there any
Give me a
malice?
check.
Is this?
Can I help him? So he doesn't get disadvantaged.
That's double disadvantage, I think.
With disadvantage, it's a 12.
That's not
As
bad.
far as you can tell, she seems genuine. I mean, your experience of her so far has been that.
Yeah.
She's fairly straight up. She is
I'm just a
what
little
she is.
surprised that Caravan may have also encountered and seen Christian in the past.
They're on the side of the road when we came to town. I'm sure it wouldn't be too much of a stretch for her to
She seems genuine to me.
make a WC stop. And,
So are you happy
she's
to wait here until Grishtar can join you?
Am I?
Can we take a
What's
rest?
Frankie reporting on the scout report?
While
Can you tell me?
while everyone's taking a rest and we're waiting, can I please do something?
Well, if it starts with do 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 do.
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
do,
exhausted, right? So. At the
Sorry,
sight
I'm just
of,
trying to find the.
hearing
It's
Minia's
called
status.
Sum of Rest. If you or any friendly creatures who can hear your performance regain hit points at the end of the short rest by spending 1 or more hit dice. Each of those creatures regains an extra 1d6 hit points.
Cool. So you can, if you want, use this opportunity as a short rest, just to kind of chill out. If you need to gain any hit points back, you can gain a hit dice plus 1d6. So as people are adventuring, they get injured,
Nice.
they sort of stuff happens, and hit points is a thing that measures your health. And if they take a rest, either a short rest or a long rest, they can regain some of those hit points to get themselves
Ooh, double
2
one.
ones.
we are on fire tonight.
It's my
That
job
wouldn't
as
at all
bard
help.
to inspire
It's a long
people
rest
to
that
give
aids
them
with
extra hit
exhaustion.
points when they're feeling a bit down to
Yeah.
step up.
So you.
So that's what
I'm going to use another
What,
one. of
what's
hit
the
die.
duration of
Switch it
exhaustion?
other than that.
You've
Right.
got
Rest.
you're exhausted, so
Rest.
it's
So
in
you're
your
long
rest.
rest.
It's in your long rest, so you're still.
I sing the theme
Exhausted.
tune as every
So I'm feeling a
time.
little better from this, but I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of down on
Yeah.
the floor.
How many did you get then?
10.
Hey, not bad.
10. What did Phil get?
I chose to use another hit die. So
Oh, did he? Okay.
I got 7 on the second one, so 9 total.
Well, that's what's going on. Can I take one aside and have a chat?
You can if you want.
Yeah? So out of earshot of the others, I'd like to talk to Gwyn about what to do about Galander, because I came across some intel that he was stealing mining equipment.
Really?
Yeah, and selling it off.
Really?
Can you believe he's a bad guy?
The
Gannon's
tea.
that guy.
Don't get the bad one, yeah!
We need to.
Well, that makes one
So,
decision
so.
easier.
I don't know if you want to get him in trouble or if we have bigger fish to fry. Because this
Well, I
whole
was gonna
mining thing
kill
is
him.
wrong.
That just means
We
that
can
just
use
means
him. We don't have to kill him right now. We have bigger fish to fry.
Oh no, we
We
need
can
to.
follow some leads. If that equipment is being used in other mines, I'm uneasy with that. I don't like that.
We could get information on more mining operations.
Why would
Right.
he? Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm not listening to him.
because corrupt people are corrupt.
No, no.
There's the other
We were going to kill him
dwarven rebels.
because
So as you're
he
having
was
these
tortured.
conversations, what's anyone else up to doing anything in particular?
Well, to be fair, I want to load down actually what's happened, what I've missed.
Okay, so do you want to just
Yeah.
bring Mark
He's quite
speed on
fond
what
of-
and
Yeah. I
Kim
mean,
offer
of course,
you a
I haven't seen you
wineskin?
for
Right.
Full of
some
actual
time.
Yeah,
good
literally
things
since
about
I
that. Would you like to
stormed
drink?
off with me.
Okay, we're going to be
No,
drinking.
before then. You weren't there. You weren't there for that
Yeah,
either.
it's been ages.
You might be.
Essentially, I met a woman who put us on to a lead for some work.
hang on a second. One of the women that he met,
Ah.
while he was exploring the city.
Exploring the city.
Well,
You're
one of the
exploring
women
women.
that he was
Oh,
exploring.
exhausted state.
Exploring certain establishments.
Every establishment. I know the city like the back of my hand now.
Are you allowed back to any of those establishments?
The hand and flower.
I
Most
yes.
of them.
I,
Most of them.
He was a very generous.
He was popular. Drew a crowd.
Essentially, she sent. Drew what?
drew a crowd.
yeah, I don't know that it was a show particularly, not deliberately.
That's more
Is that why
tomorrow's.
we're doing this job?
Tomorrow's forte.
Excuse me.
You perform.
Which one of my shows did you see?
The The one with the tassels.
Oh, right.
I loved it. Essentially,
So just to put that in context, the night you went off in a huff, and you also created the issue that resulted in the
I
fight.
created no issue.
Fleecing
Definitely
innocent
No,
men.
okay, I
You
remember
were
that.
aware. You were aware of
Yes.
course, occasionally sort of being on the edge of stuff.
I'm on the
You thought you'd avoided being spotted by her, but you were aware. She knew that already, but
Yes.
just to remind her.
okay, so you saw my tassels.
I most definitely saw your tassel.
So when he talks about tassels, you're thinking, okay.
Yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
night.
Sorry, carry on.
She put us onto some work from her uncle Angmar, who is in charge of Forest Co, the company that run this mine. He said they've been having some trouble with some kobolds. I thought it'd be easy going. So we made our way up here, expecting for an easy, clear out mission, but yeah, we seem to be in the middle of starting the first socialist revolution affair, which I'm not totally averse to. We met Mania, who was part of the caravan supplying the town, and we journeyed with her. She's lovely, as you can see.
Stunning.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Wings just nodding.
We found it quite difficult to get too much information about the mine itself and the town, but as soon as I met that guy on the guy, I just knew he was a prick.
Agreed.
I gathered that as well.
He asked us to go out on patrol with him. We hung back a little bit just because we didn't really like the cut of his jib. And we ended up meeting with the kobolds while they were rounding them up and beating them up for no good reason, essentially. We met them. They've said that they've been pushed out of their home, which was the mine, and that essentially they want to speak to some of the mine workers who they think they may be sympathetic with, and the mine workers may have some sympathy with them as well.
Rock slide.
Rock slide. That'll be you. Take 12 points of damage. Cool.
Viva the revolution.
Viva the revolution.
That's basically all I'm getting from that.
So there's a few bits of catching up been going on. Frank is giving you the all clear from up above at the moment. And as you sort of gather around this tree, it's quite a significant tree that looks dead. There's a sense of purpose to this space. And as you stood there, you notice coming through the trees two kobolds, Grishtar and Tar, appear from the bushes. This is a bit of a surprise to you. You've been led to believe that kobolds are dangerous, and so your reaction would be defensive. The rest of you have obviously already become acquainted to them. This is your first sight of kobolds, short, lizard-like, sort of lizard goblins, really red-skinned. Yeah,
Not a red nasty balls.
not yeah, little
They're
red,
probably
Not so nasty.
but not so nasty. The two creatures that sort of come out from the wood, they're both very tall. The one is quite a lot older than the other, but carries themselves with quite a lot of dignity and grace. The other one sort of comes alongside. You can see there's some sort of conversation going on between the two of them. And she comes and she stops in the middle of this stone circle around the tree and beckons you to come around her.
Let's see how everyone else is probably just like
Mara's going to walk around.
So Emery and Clem and yourself are both, that's three of you are all looking a little bit unsure, but because the rest of you seem comfortable with these two kobolds, you go forwards with the rest of you and you sort of gather around.
Is Minia coming with us?
Yep, she's there, and there's a nod of
Queen of the Kobolds.
recognition between her and Grishtar and Tar. And you come together, and Tar speaks, and she says, thank you for gathering with us here tonight. It has been a difficult journey for us to get away without being spotted by the patrols that are out, but this place has some secrecy and some protection. We will be safe here for a short time at least, and you all get a sense that there is something magical. Seems like an odd word to use, but there is something protective about this space. And Tar says, this is a sacred space for our tribe. And she points to the tree and she says, the living tree no longer lives because of what's happening with the mining and things that are happening. But this is a good place for us to meet and talk. And she talks about Gristar. And Gristar speaks to Tar, and she translates this to you, and she says that she knows that this is difficult for some of you who have been told things about us, but I believe that it's important that we are here to talk with you about what we can do to change what's going on in this place. So, what can we do?
What is it you wish to do? You wish to remove forest code?
So Emery is probably the first to sort of speak up into this space and says, well, the reality is for the miners, this is just like the worst place any of us have worked. I think we have no rights here. We don't get breaks. We work 12, 15 hours a day, every day. If we get ill or there's an incident, we don't get paid for days that we're not working. We don't get days off. There's no free time. We're not able to go back and see our family. We have no guarantee of employment. If there's anything wrong, if we upset the wrong person, then we could just lose our job without any warning. There's bullying, there's mistreatment constantly for anything that happens. So I think we would all welcome something different, a different way of operating this. And you've worked in other mines, and Emery's worked in other mines and in some of the mills and places, and you've worked places where the work is hard, and it's not that people are worried about hard work, they just want it to be fair and done properly. Dwarves are tough people, so down in the mills where there's often work available, but at the moment there's a lot of dwarves down there. It's a good place to work. It's hard work hard, get paid well, go and spend it all in town, but it's fair, and that's all that we're really asking for here. And Gristar, as she gets this translated, sort of is nodding as if she understands the concepts that are being talked about here.
I'll just say to Krishna and Tar, you want your homes back?
Indeed. So this is going to get translated through Tar. Indeed, that is what we want, but we recognise that maybe there's some way we could have our home back, but also share what is needed from this ground. We're willing to share it. Maybe there's some value for us in that, but we'd want that to be done in a way that treats us properly and treats those that work here properly.
And respects the land properly.
And respects the land. Gristar speaks about the tree, and she says, we believe that if we can unpollute the water, because the water that flows through here is being polluted by the work that's being done, there are better ways of doing that. We believe we could even bring the Tree of Life back.
Am I able to go up to the tree or sort of, sort of pull, sort
Okay.
of pair of the earth. I just want to see if the tree's still alive. I just want to see if I can sense any sense of life within the tree.
Give me a nature check, please.
This is awful.
Anybody want to aid in this?
Go on, I'll give the help
Very
action.
good.
So you can
Probably
roll
that.
You can come around this way. I'm on a stool, so it makes it easier to get
What's
one
that, sorry?
So I'll give you the help action so you can roll flat.
Sorry, Alice.
Sorry, look.
push that trolley in.
Yeah, really good.
No?
Bounce the camera is good.
Looks more like you were squaring up.
Okay.
Makes that so creepy.
So, you're investigating the tree.
So nature 16, 14 and 2.
Yeah, as you kind of just try and tune into it, you get a sense that very faintly you get the rhythm of a nature heartbeat. You know, the beat that travels through a tree that carries life through it. You just get that faint sense there's something
what?
still there. What?
There you are, you know, the tree out of Avatar.
Ah,
There is life still in the tree, for sure. It's faint, but it's still there.
and I'll turn to Krishna and Han and I'll say, there's hope. It lives on yet. You have a chance to save it and this land.
And Tar translates this to Krishna, and she's a smile on her face and just a moment of sort of common understanding that she just sort of shares. She knows that what you're saying is true. Krishna, so you know, Emery then says, well, you know, really, as far as I can see, there's only one thing for us to do. We need to stand up against these people. We need to fight for our rights. We need to challenge them that we will work here. We're prepared to work, but it's got to be fair. It's got to be right.
And
We need to kind of get all those workers together, and if we got that right, we could help the Kobolds get back in and their homes and make that work and work together. You can see Clem is sort of looking at you and you're sort of maybe holding him.
Sorry, guys.
He's still interlude.
Sorry, guys. I started the chain.
That's alright. We'll wait till everyone's finished.
Alright.
Who's dead?
Do you need a move or?
Take a
just pull them up.
5-minute break or
I
whatever.
really dislike the phone. I dislike
It's
the
alright.
Oh, okay.
Does it make any sense?
It's a lot easier
Yeah.
to just...
See, when I'm
Yeah.
talking it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's only because you don't know the history.
Just what we tend to do is just smile at them.
Smile and wave.
Absolutely.
I really want to kill him.
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
really.
I think I still might.
Well, so...
No, I mean I was going to go in the mine.
Are we not now?
Let's see what happens.
Well, there might be another way.
Of murder?
And I'll say, there might, as much as I want to see him dead,
Anyone else?
That was me
Anyone
talking
for
on a
anyone?
horse. Yeah, sure.
Right.
yeah,
So,
I mean, at this one time, it's actually I'm okay in the murder of this.
oh, this time,
I flipped.
you kill everyone.
No, I flipped the other way.
I mean, personally speaking, this guy deserves to die. So
Yeah, I kind of.
he's basically just like he's basically a slaver.
I feel like he's the kind of person that we can do everything that we're saying we should do. I think that's like a really good thing. But he's the kind of person that you know when everybody leaves and it all goes back to normal, he's gonna just, you know, spin the clock back.
and Clem looks at you and he says, I agree totally. He says, I think the people are exhausted. And I don't know that we can stand up against them.
The last time we left someone alive, they ended up being the key to something else though.
Clem, do you have any contacts at the forest office?
No.
Is the only way to contact them through Gallender?
Absolutely.
And I'll look at you and I'll think, fuck.
And I'll think.
And Emery sort of says, she looks at you and she says, but if we all came together, then maybe there is a chance. Maybe there's something we can do. And you can see that Clem, maybe it's the fact that he's absolutely exhausted from the injury, and you can see he's kind of like, he says, we'll all just be killed. This is just going to end up bad.
We've already offered our support to Krista, and we're happy to offer our support to yourselves as well, with certainly no knights or anything, but we know our way around a blade. And
There may be another way that can help us. And I'll say, Adalola, do you want to explain what you've been up to?
While I was away, I came across some intel that Gallender has been stealing mining equipment, and having seen the conditions in that mine, I'm just absolutely terrified that stolen equipment is used for even worse operations.
maybe he's stealing the good stuff and supplying his
Well-
friends while running this one into the ground.
And you'd probably be able to back this up. You will have been aware, as would Emery, that you've seen new stuff arrive on the caravans, you've seen new equipment, and yet it's not always there. The stuff you're having to use is, you know, the chisels and the axes and the things you're using are old and breaking all the time, and you get charged every time they're broken and they've got to be fixed. And Manya will sort of come into this, and she says, you know, we bring so much equipment up here for what is a relatively small mining operation, and I'm surprised how often we're having to replace stuff.
And I'll look at Clem and his broken arm. So he's leaving you with the broken equipment. He's doing this to you.
I would say as well that machine definitely was not up to safety standards.
The arm chewing one?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a bit of a grin from Clem, and he says,
I mean, you can see how easily I stopped the machine.
So-
just
so can we
Maybe I'll
do this, do you think?
Underestimate your own strength.
Yeah.
We can do this.
I don't know that we can persuade the people to join this group. We'd have to get them to
we've proven
sort of
that.
sign up to something. Are you up to that?
We can make examples of the current establishments here. I think you probably have more sway with your own people.
I think they'll listen to you. They'll listen to, I think,
We have proven that it's possible to stand up to him.
Well,
but before we do that, we need to get people to understand that we've got to stand together. Do you think you could go in and persuade people, talk to them, and explain what we could do?
I can try.
What a concept.
We could try,
I'm
but
not that great at talking to people. It's you'll have to use your tricks on them.
So the guards
Just
leave
try.
If we could prove,
before or
Tassels,
after you?
if we could prove that
There's
he's
people
doing,
mining.
that he is
all the
stealing
time.
from them and leaving them
Doesn't
in
stop.
Is there
dangerous,
ever a time when it's
dangerous working
quieter on
situations,
security?
Not really.
that would bring a lot of people over to the side.
But there are ways that you could
That's a good point.
go and talk to people
You
and
better
make
remember
that
this one.
happen.
Horse would turn to Gristar and ask, is there any more aid that you could provide for Clem here? You can see his arms pretty bashed up. I don't know if you have any.
Tar sort of looks and says, perhaps he could come back with us to the tribe, to the cavern that we shared with you previously, and there are some there that would be able to do some work. The big healing is going to take a long time, but we can help with the pain and the superficial healing if he would come with us. And you can see he sort of.
We might.
But
Clem might help us talking to the others.
He's healing
He needed
first.
to get out of town. Gounder.
He's
One of
made
them
it
out.
abundantly clear that he's gone. Once we out him, then I would say that Clem needs to be the new leader.
Not. Would you be willing to talk on behalf of us?
Yeah, I'll be there to let him talk.
so Emery looks at you and says, "Right. So what we need to do is parchment. She gets this pack and she takes out some parchment and says, she starts writing some stuff down on this thing, and you see it sort of, it's like a, not a contract, but almost like a promise. It just sort of says, you know, we, the undersigned, agree that we will come together to fight the oppression. And she said, if we could get people to sign this, it'd be like an act of commitment to it. You can see this spark in her. You've not seen this in her before, but you
What are we doing?
A community manifesto.
We're doing signing
If
the
that's-
Declaration of
yes.
Independence.
can you come and team in Mephisto? Yeah, we can have one of those. Maybe we could go and would you come and help us to get people to sign this? I think it would be a way of getting them to commit to unity in community.
Within the unity.
Community.
Absolutely.
I would say you only
read
needed
it.
a few people to start standing up. As soon as a couple stood up, the rest will follow.
So you're able to say, well, within each area of the mine itself, there tends to be a sort of one of the older members or the people that have been here longer than the others. And if you could talk to them, there are certain key people that would be able to then persuade those in those different areas. Maybe we could just go to each space and see how we could get on. Some of them are much older and wiser and have influence. Others are just good with people, their personalities. So maybe we could go and see what we can do.
And if all else fails, I can just beat the shit out of it.
Beat the shit out of it.
Yeah, we'd be happy to help you distribute this manifesto. What did you call it?
I think I called it a
Manifesto.
Manifesto. A community manifesto.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be happy to do that.
It's a weird word I
I'm
learned in the
listening.
jungle, in the forest at the time.
Amazing.
Can you spell that?
Can't spell.
So you get a sense that there's some sort of excitement here in those miners, and even Clem is sort of maybe this will work, and Grishtar is looking excited at the idea that maybe this is a chance for her people to get back to their own home, and at the same time find a way of working alongside the people. And so after a little while, a bit more talking, Mania says, you know, we're not going to work with them again, but we're prepared to get involved in whatever it is. If maybe we should just refuse to work. We could just down tools and say we're not going to do any more work, and we'll stand with you on that. But yeah, so and you get a sense that there's a plan here, which is to get back into the mine and try and just talk to some of the key people in there and prepare for something next, whatever's going to be next. Maybe a complete downing of tools, and then see what happens.
I see that strike.
Cool. So, Clem agrees to go back with Grishtar and Tar back to have some more treatment done on his arm, and you can see he's kind of a little bit wary, but he's going to go. The rest of you,
It'll just be reassurance that you won't be any help if your arm busted up like that.
yeah, you get the of tea.
It's brilliant.
Cool.
I believe he would.
Is it yours?
Prefer, I believe he would prefer stronger stuff.
The tea is really
He's a
good.
dwarf
Genuinely,
after
the
all.
tea is good.
So
That makes sense.
you kind of get your plan together and you sort of talk a little bit and you find out from Torikad and from Emery about the various places in the mine and the different people that you might could seek out. And you're going to head back towards the mine. Yeah.
While we're walking, Mara is going to begin one of her wonderful speeches that everyone loves so much. For 10 minutes straight, she will talk about how if we can convince people to work together in this mine, we'll be able to keep the world together because we're that good of a team. And she's going to use the inspiring leader trait. You can spend 10 minutes inspiring your companions, choose up to 6 allies, ta-da, including myself, that can see or hear and can understand you within 30 feet. Each creature gains 6 temp hit points.
Cool. So probably, whilst this has been going on, Kevin has been very attentive, and he sort of sidles up to you, and he says, "I think, sir, I could help with this document. I would be happy to assist in making this document actually with proper words, not just the ones that Gwyn. And we could make it a legal document if that would help. I could with this dwarf lady, I could help do that.
I'd say to him, if you want to go with her and.
Cool. He wouldn't say cool. He would not say. Say yes, sir. Right, I'll get on to that straight.
Yeah, we'll do that, and then we can work with the rest of the leaders.
So he starts talking to Emery, and as you're walking back, you see the two of them are exchanging various ideas, and he's writing these bits and pieces down, and they're coming up with this.
I would say for someone like the wizards, will call him a bit of a dunce.
He's okay. He's absorbed a lot more than he ever really let them know. I was safe. You trek back down. Takes you about half an hour to get down to the town. You kind of skirt around the edge of the town area and back towards the mine. Nobody really is that interested in the fact that you're here. They're expecting you to be here. You're part of the work crew here. So no one seems particularly bothered, and you make your way back to the entrance to the mine.
I would ask, is there anyone that they would suggest we start with first?
Would it help if we spoke to the lady in the wisdom tower?
She seemed pretty disinterested with everything, really, as long as she was
I
happy
was going to say
reading
he's off with
the book.
So he and Emery are sat down somewhere outside, scrawling away on this sort of 28-page manifesto document.
We the people.
Is that all? Is that just happening at the entrance?
They're sat out here somewhere doing their scribbling of stuff, and you've just come to the entrance of the mine. So you're with them now, and you're really the only person here that knows the mine well.
As we're walking through.
So you get to this first
Okay.
sort of space.
Perfect. I was going to say Gwyn wants to just double check because he's aware that this could go wrong. So as we get to this first space, Gwyn wants to go in and just have a look and see if there's anyone there he ought to sort of keep an eye on Clark. And as we go further down, he wants to have a look here as well.
I would say I could do the talk.
So you see in this area there's various bits of equipment, sort of
+5.
you know that this little cavern is a sort of the beginnings of something that started to get dug out, but it didn't seem to be leading to anything substantial as far as the sort of the veins of ore were concerned. But in this space you can see there are two miners sort of huddled talking over the bits of debris and things that are in the corner. There's quite a short, thin, halfling woman. Yeah.
So I'll turn to you and Emery and I'll say, where's the best place to do this? Should we bring them along with us?
So probably just kind of chat to them where they are. You maybe just take the opportunity. You know that this woman is a woman called Babette Firetongue.
Babette Fireton.
Babette Firetongue.
What a name. That's cool.
I mean, you can have it if you want, but you know,
I'd like it.
change first name.
I don't know, sorry, I'm completely lost. I
That's
don't know.
So basically, you would tell us that the best way to do it is to hit the leaders one by one, like talk to them one by one,
Right.
instead of bringing them all into a big group.
Okay.
I would say bring them into one.
Are we
group
talking
just to
about the
rouse
miners,
suspicious.
Yeah.
Rouse
Yeah,
suspicion.
the miners.
So this woman looks at you and she says, "Are you with the company?
We're with you.
What does that mean?"
I was the one who saved Clem. There you go. Good way to lead it.
It was all me.
Oh, everyone else just kind of stood there slapped.
She's looking over your shoulder towards the entrance of the cave where there's the two guards still stood, and she says, "Thank you. It's not the first time it's happened, and we're very grateful for your help.
It needs to be the last.
Give me a stealth check, please. Dexterity stealth check.
Oh,
Shit. I gotta do that with this.
Does
Would
anyone-
it be a thing because I'm not actually actively sneaking. I'm just trying to be quiet.
You're trying to make sure that you're not going to get overheard by the guards.
Yeah, so my armour wouldn't make a difference
Oh,
to that
no,
one.
no,
So
no.
it'll just be.
It's not like you're moving to.
Oh, 17.
Okay. She sort of, she seems comfortable enough to talk to you. You seem to be quiet enough that the guards don't seem to be aware that there's this little conflict going on, and she says, what's happening?
We can see how much of a hard time you've been having here. The conditions seem awful, and we've spoken to your colleagues, Talcat, Emery, Clem. We'd like to help you, and we know some others that would like to help you as well.
So what are you going to do? What do you want? What's happening?
We need
need
to.
to organise and make sure. Well, basically, kick out. I've got his name.
Garlander.
Gallender.
Gander.
Okay, that's a big ask.
There's more of you than there is of them.
I'm gonna nudge him and say, show the contract.
I think they're still dictating it.
This time Kevin and Henry come in, and he's got this, you can see great pride on his face at this document, and he hands it over and says, "Here, we can sign this. This is."
Whilst as the contract sort of gets thrust forward, just to sort of inspire a bit of confidence in them. So I can't write, but he just goes to his hand actually, pricks his thumb a little bit, and just makes a smear on the bottom.
This is
I'll
how.
sign first.
just fun.
Just, yeah, just to make a little bit of blood and smears it. We're with you if you want to join us.
I'll sign it straight away as well.
She looks a little off. She says, "The only contract I signed before is with Forest Cove. Will this work?"
It will.
It'll work if you believe in it. We believe in it.
She takes her thumb and she just finds a bit of sharp metal on it, scrapes it, and "I'm with you.
We bet.
Be
I
back."
like that. I don't know, this is a cool name.
One down. How many more leaders to?
30.
And she and the other character, she goes back, she starts talking to this person, and they kind of nod in with some excitement, and she looks over her shoulder and looks at you. your work here is done. You can move on.
It was like Kevin.
You carry on up the mine and you go past to the right this chamber you saw earlier that seems to be filled with buckets of water and sort of almost like washing bowls and things. And you see there's a couple of people in there who are washing themselves down, and they sort of come and go, and then there's a young human lad, similar age to Kevin, in there, and he seems to be crouched down in the corner of the chamber. He's not washing, he's just seems to be crouched right in the corner, like he's talking to somebody.
Anyone else want to take a lead on this one?
No, I'm not into this.
Is he? How dark is it? Is it lit by torches?
There's torchlight in all the rooms.
Are we able to? Are we able to take a look and see who he's talking to?
Is he Elvish? Like, not, if he's not Elvish.
Yeah, if you get into the chamber, you can see that
It's everywhere.
he seems to be trying to coax a little mouse out of this hole in the wall. And as you come in, he turns over and he looks at you and he goes, shh, 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 shh. And he says, and he looks over and he says, "He's my friend, so I feed him and I care for him." And he takes a little bit of bread that he's got in his pouch and starts feeding it to this little mouse.
And does the mouse come out? Does he?
The mouse is eating the food from the mouse.
And I'll walk over and
I'm just getting flashes of Green Mile now.
Great shot.
and I'll just go into my pocket and pull a few seeds out as well, and I'll give them to the boy. I say, "You need this."
Thank you. And he holds them out and the mouse starts taking the seed from his hand. He looks over,
That's much like
big
bitch,
grin
he's
over
like-
his face. He says, "Thank you, you're so kind."
You're welcome. Anything.
Could you give me an animal handling check, please?
How old is this boy?
So they're around about the same age as
Just give me.
Kim.
Oh no!
And he's working the mine.
Natural 20
Cool.
and a 19.
Ooh.
Oh,
Nice.
so at disadvantage, I get a 23.
Nice.
Fabulous. Okay, so you kind of sidle up alongside this
Never
boy,
again. I can
and
roll the rest of the session, bro.
you know you start to be able to sort of give some of the seed to the mouse, and you can see that it's like, wow, this animal is really trusts you, and he says, "Oh, it's just so amazing. I rescued him from before." He said, I had him and I was carrying him through one of the tunnels, and I dropped him, and Gallander nearly tried to step on him and kill him, and thank you for your kindness.
You've done well. He looks healthy. He looks healthy, and you've looked after him. Well done. It's not easy. And I'll turn to who'd be behind me.
All of them.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
the conga down the railway track.
And so at this point, I'll turn to Emery, and I'll say to the boy, "Do you have a second just for Emery to talk to you, man?"
Do you have a moment to talk? Have your time to talk about it? But say you.
I think Phil's just going to move through the mine and just sort of do a head count of the guards.
Okay, so just keeping an eye on where they are. And
Yeah, I'd like
cool.
more to know what he's up against.
Cool.
If shit goes sideways.
Yeah.
I said we'll do the same.
So
with-
Emery says, this was written some time ago. She said, "Oh, Kevin is such a gentle boy." He is called Kevin too. And you can see your Kevin go.
And I'll immediately just,
Such an unusual name. How could
Samara
it
is
be two
immediately
Kobolds?
going to turn around and start walking away. She does
Well,
not need
another one.
another camera. She doesn't. Can someone move
Someone
Samara
go back.
up the...
I'm gonna look at you and go, don't worry, I'm not going to adopt this one.
No. She's still going to keep moving away. Like, nope.
But Emery is chatting away to him and explaining and showing him this piece of paper, and you can see he looks over at Gwen and it's a big grin and he's got the mouse.
He might
He signs this paper and puts his mark on it.
Absolutely not. I do
He's,
not
he's
need more.
really excited by what he's just heard.
have a little druid and
No.
train him.
Amazing.
I put my foot down.
I'm glad I didn't have to keep on catching my thunder sign over and over again to inspire confidence. I wouldn't make this mine alive.
To be
You
fair,
just need to give them seeds.
to be fair, with enough bits of like, signatures on it, there'll be. I wasn't aware of how many people were illiterate and didn't actually. Yeah, so you got blood, and then my signature.
So you're going to carry on
Yep.
further?
Yeah.
So you make your way further along to the point where the railway tracks diverge, and you'd previously gone to the right, and just to the left there's a sort of open area, and you can see by a few boxes there's a quite chubby elf leaning over a few of the boxes on a table, and seems to be sort of looking at some bits of mechanical devices and pieces, and sort of notices you and says, "Ah, you, come here, spare me a hand."
Who'd you send that to, of course?
Anybody.
Go on. Yeah, I'll go up. What do you need?
So you can see he's got these bits of cogwheel, and there seems to be some metal springs and all sorts of bits and pieces. He just starts talking, and he starts explaining how if you could get these cogwheels back in the right place, and you need to make sure that the differential is exactly correct, because otherwise the offset will just mean everything goes wrong, and we need to get the calibration of the springs set in just the right parameters.
Kevin, come here.
Looks at you. Sorry. I thought you were here to help. I'm just trying to reorganise everything. I've been told I've got to make sure everything works properly. We've never got the right amount of equipment. The pieces that we get sent, I've made a catalogue of stuff, but it's never here. All the best stuff is missing all the time.
Well,
I can't make these machines work properly if I don't have the right bits and pieces.
well, I've had it under good authority that someone's. I'm trying to think of the correct word to use.
Pilfering?
That's right. Pilfering. Is your correct tools and supplies for their own personal gain?
Well, nothing would surprise me in this place. How am I supposed to do my job properly? I mean,
You say you made a catalogue?
just a list of the.
Have you got it?
Yes, and pulls over this big book with all these pages of
Said a list.
notes and things. Starts to
Been going on
explain.
for a long
See
time.
that this is. We definitely had these boxes of.
Definitely had them.
Definitely had them, and now I can't find them. And next time the machine will break, and then Galander's going to get really mad at everybody. But it's not my fault. I can only make the machine work with the stuff
No,
that
it's
I've got. I
Galander's.
don't have the
How
right
safe is that
stuff. How can I make it work properly? It's not my fault.
How safe is that documentation, that proof that you had these boxes? Are you the only one aware of this catalogue?
I don't know. There's probably not that many people who could read what's in it.
Are you the one who like requests the orders and stuff like that?
Yes, so I have to tell them what we need to keep the machines going and to do any repairs to the wagons and things like that.
So
Do you report directly to Gallagher?
Through the guards normally. I mean, he tends not to talk to many of us directly unless it's shouting.
he's the one who's been pilfering your supplies.
How do you know that?
Evidence.
Evidence.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Not that we can supply.
Phil,
We
do you wanna,
know it exists.
Well, you're really
I reckon he's gonna be I reckon he would be an idiot and actually keep a record
Okay,
of
so-
what stuff he's got.
He is quite a whiz kid. He's a bit of a boffin. Someone needs to give me an Arcana check to kind of see if you can get him to
I'm a disadvantage.
believe
I was
that
going to say,
you're
my Arcana's
sort
not
of
bad, but a
on
disadvantage to
your
want to
wavelength.
risk it.
I've got
Does only one of us or can multiple
So
people?
you can all try if you want to.
Oh, right. I might as well.
17.
Might as well.
About 6.
14 at disadvantage.
Never mind.
17.
I rolled a 1
I'd
and a
have been
3.
19.
So it doesn't really matter about this.
Doesn't matter.
So
One he's gotten shot at.
I would
He's
say
fairly
I can use my
convinced
second
that you seem to know. A little bit surprised. He looks you up and down, and you seem to know what I'm on about, and you're able to sort of explain what the plan is with getting everybody together. And he says, "Well, it's kind of shit or bust, isn't it? Really?
It is really.
If that's what's going on, we've got to put a stop to it." Finger goes on a bit of paper.
Can people just sign it?
Most of us
We don't, we
know
don't all
how.
have.
It's a blood bond, Malvath.
We want
It's a
to
blood
sun you
bond.
with blood.
Yeah.
It's insanitary.
How long have
I
you
mean,
been
I'm
wearing that
immune to
armour?
disease, but still.
Brings us together.
I mean, to be fair, I'm immune to disease.
Onward.
And upward.
Upwards.
So as you sort of come out into this, where these tracks diverge, there's quite a lot of workers in the rest of this area. There are ladders up the sides of the rock faces. Occasionally you see there's sort of like really crude scaffolding and people working at different levels. The noise is quite almost overwhelming. People chipping away at stuff. There are probably more guards here than in the other areas
Where?
that you've been to. In the sort of
Oh,
central
by the machine.
area.
Okay.
Not on this side. In this sort of area.
This
yeah.
bit?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the centre course.
And so it's difficult to sort of see anybody that's really noticeable. There's a couple of people, a little group of workers who seem to be communicating with hand signals to each other, so that above the noise they're able to sort of get some sort of communication going.
Does anyone speak FSL? Fair and Sign Language?
I don't have my skills.
Unfortunately not.
I speak GSL Giant Sign Language, but it's totally different.
I could attempt to make a distraction as you guys talk to the others. Gonna get her lute out and begin trying to perform and draw the attention
Give me
away
a
from.
performance check at disadvantage.
At
Because
disadvantage.
of the noise in the,
So I have to roll twice, right?
yeah, and take the lowest
Is that machine up and running again?
one round the corner, yeah.
You turn it off, but the guards would be listening in.
Well, I'd say if I turn it off, the guards are going to rush over to where I am.
24.
I can.
That was your lowest score.
That was my lowest score.
Okay.
My highest would have been a 27.
Cool. So you
Did you roll on that 20?
you kind of just start walking around the sort of rocks, and you're playing away, maybe getting close enough that
Seeing
people
something
are sort
about,
of.
the underdogs rising up and all of that.
And you get a sense that there's people are sort of hitting the rock at the same tempo as your song, and they're starting to sort of join in with the rhythm of it. This group that are sign language into each other, you can see them sort of looking a little bit dubious about what's going on.
What are the guards do?
The guards are a bit edgy. Concerned they're a bit more aware of that something is a bit odd happening. There's this strange small woman wandering around singing some weird song.
Are the eyes on tomorrow or?
pretty much that's where they're and the fact
She
that
is quite
everyone else
deliberately
is
moving away.
clunking their axes and things in time with the song and
Horse will make his way to the group.
okay,
Yeah, so
Sign.
I'll go with us.
cool. Okay, I need you to give me a charisma check, please. Persuasion, see if, because they're sort of
Always.
like a little
16.
off.
Have I got
You can roll with advantage, even though you can't roll with advantage.
so?
16.
I might go over with disadvantage or a straight roll.
Straight roll.
Oh yeah.
What am I rolling?
Charisma.
Charisma persuasion.
Oh. I did the wrong
11.
thing.
Okay. You sense that this group are a little bit reserved. They're not that keen on talking to you.
Do we get any reason why they're cagey or?
There's a slap by the big man. As you can attest.
The one that seems to be the dominant character here identifies himself as Gebford Ryden. And you can see he's quite angry. See it just in his
Sorry, what was his
manner.
name?
Gebford Ryden.
Debford.
And he says, what's your friend doing? As if there isn't enough noise in this place. Now you're going to add to it.
She's just trying to stir up some feeling at the moment.
There's enough feeling.
I can see you're
The wrong,
angry.
the wrong feeling.
What?
He goes on to explain that he's been told that the noise from this place has damaged his hearing, and there are others here whose hearing is damaged beyond repair, and nobody seems to care about it. He's spoken to people and just been told to get on with it.
So no,
Have we
we're
got a
ear
proposition?
defenders.
No.
No, you do notice that there's a complete lack of ear defenders, fluorescent jackets.
You should try my you know, my trick of just shoving some moss in your ears, and it helps dampen the.
I'm so sorry that
Yeah, you need a Kevin. You learn these things.
you've been unable. You've damaged your hearing working this noise. We can see it's quite unbearable down here, but we're here to try and help make the working conditions better.
I bet.
Who else is there at the moment? All
I
of you
would be
apart
RBA.
from. So I need you
I bet
all to
Gollum
try
I bet
persuasion
Gollum just
check,
sent the ear
please.
defenders. He sold them.
Natural 20. 25.
What have we
So,
got?
The rest of them are trying persuasion checks now. It's fine. I mean,
18.
oh, that's good. So the two of you sort of managed to get in a bit more close, and you seem to be a bit more sympathetic to what it is, and the fact that you talk about moss in your ears and all the rest of it seems to
And now,
catch his
I bet
attention.
Gollum just sold them ear defenders.
probably.
He says, I think sounds like a plan. He says, what might help is, I'm pretty sure I can tell you the guard routines. And when who's on duty and the kind of rotas that they have, that might be useful. But yeah, we'll sign up for this. And
Phil
he
pulls out
signs for a
some
few
parchment
things.
and a pen or a quill or something. I'm ready to write.
So the group, there's 4 or 5 of them, they all, put our name to this, and starts explaining a little bit to you about some of the routines that the patrols take, who the key guards are, as well as Gallandal, and you just start to get a sense of, okay, yeah, that helps, this is good to know.
How are the rest of the guards? Are they strong in themselves, or is it mostly derived from Gallander? The dealings we've had with them, they seem to be.
He says, they're strong in numbers, and they rely on the fact that they've got weapons and armour, and there's enough of them to push us around. And Gallander is the mouthpiece and the strong arm of the bunch.
Is there
But the rest will happily join in. There's some nasty pieces of work.
Do you think if we made an example of Gallander, the some of them might think twice about getting involved.
Yeah, I think so. Some of them are quite
I would
cowardly.
also ask, is there an armoury?
There's equipment in one of the storerooms up in, you know. They're.
Yeah, I would say to Phil, is that you fancy
Doing a little reconnaissance.
well, I'd say getting some equipment.
So it explains that the bunkhouse for the guards is much better built than theirs and has better equipment.
I think your skills might be needed for that.
Does, I'm not sure if you would have told Phil this already, but does Garland sleep in the guards' quarters? Does he drink in there in the tavern? Does
Does he
he
have a private room?
He has his own space. He has his own cabin.
his own cabin?
Yeah.
And where is it?
I already scouted the town back in the first session.
Mm.
Would I have already?
So you'd have probably been able to, as he's
I know I
talking
definitely
about
knew where the
this,
guards and stuff slept.
yeah,
and
as
all
you
that.
talk about this, you're able to think, yeah, I know where those
Yeah.
much
Okay.
better quality buildings are, and
So
Yeah.
Mr.
I
Pyro
can
might
get a
want to
sense of,
do something with that.
yeah.
What he's
What sort of time would
Would that
Garland be in his
be,
cabin?
Through the evening, he doesn't do the late shifts. You know, he picks and chooses the best times. He'll come and he'll wander around, shake a lot, but he relies on the other guards to do most of the watching what's going on. The guards are starting to get uneasy about the song and dance that's going on. You can see that, you can sense that. Probably time to
Have we
stop.
spoke to everyone that we need to speak to, more or less?
There's some other chambers you can still go into. So if you follow the
we-
track round to the left into what from where
Do
you
we-
are, you can see is probably the busiest of all the areas.
Do we get the sense that we've spoken to enough people that it's going to start snowballing?
Can we ask?
You probably would be able to say to them that actually there are some bigger groups still that we ought to go and talk in the main extraction zone and in the machinery area,
Is that
just to get them on board. Those two spaces would probably be enough.
Okay.
Is that just the next room?
So this one down to the left is where the main extraction area is at the moment, and you know where the machinery room is.
I'll say we'll go to the left to the extraction room first because the guards are currently staring at Tamara. We've
Tamara.
gone over to where the
Who's standing on a coal truck somewhere.
Singing her heart out about how, you know.
Ying
very-
Mount scene of the mine.
Can Phil wants to go over to where Samara's doing her thing and just sort of almost get involved, but do it like towards the guards. So in a way where he's sort of like, "Come on, guys, have you not had fun? I'm sure it's been a while." You
Okay,
know,
give me a persuasion.
Pulls out
Or
his
performance.
flask, you know, and
performance or
Can I
persuasion.
help him with this? Cause
Yeah.
So I get to roll as well?
Or he rolls with advantage.
Right, okay. Roll with advantage.
which would be a straight roll for me.
Yeah.
Okay. A charisma roll,
So you can either do persuasion or performance.
persuasion or performance. Come on, be nice to me, please. It's not terrible. 15.
Okay. So the two of the guards you can see are sort of take notice, and one of them looks like he's going to crack a smile, and the other one looks at you both, looks around at the group, turns and heads off out the mine.
Samara's going to try and wave to show that she's losing them as she's playing. Like,
I would say, we notice that he's gone out to the mine. So,
Give me a
perception.
perception there. So you know, you see.
Yeah, I'd probably. So Phil's probably going to skip along with him and, like, arm over
No.
shoulder, hand him the flask.
12.
He's
I didn't notice.
Although that's
not
a
impressed.
flask,
Thank you.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, like a flask of
Yeah.
alcohol.
Was it a perception check? To check?
Yeah, see whether you've spotted this. So Phil's sort of trying to cajole this guard. He's not impressed. He kind of shrugs off and he just marching off.
As he
So,
as he strokes my hand, actually.
I just so I was trying to clock everyone's going in and out. I got an 18 on perception.
So you see this, you see Phil and this guard. The guard shrugs Phil's efforts to kind of persuade him to join in the fun, but he's just having nothing of it and he's leaving the tunnel.
Also puts his hand on Phil's back and say, "Cooler heads prevail a minute. Let's just buy that time." You can see he's annoyed at the guard shrugging him off. And,
So if you know he's gone now, he's probably gone to get. We've got to move quickly.
Kamara's just trying to get to the
John
good
drops
part of the
the
song.
and just starts walking back towards the others.
Okay.
I think our element would maybe Shock and all be gone and Gavin will be on his way. So I think if we speak to these groups quickly and
We don't need to do it today.
He's
As
going
long
to
as
try
they're
and
on
crack.
board.
He's going to try and crack down.
This document can't be found.
So Samara's going to keep singing, trying to keep the distraction on her, so you guys have a chance.
you said there's another group here.
There's a group in that area and there's a group down in the main extraction
Also
area down.
speak to the group.
So you're going to
try
split
and
up?
spot.
Try and
Yeah,
do two.
and I'll.
So who's going to the main extraction area? Can you move your characters for me so we can see who's going where?
Who's got the contract?
I'd say we've had multiple.
Bits of paper.
Or would you
Yeah.
like to go?
So it would be the same thing because I imagine that if we had
It's a
enough
kind
signatures-
of
Would this be this issue?
Um,
Do you want to go to the main extraction where
it's
a lot of the other
almost
people are?
unimportant what anyone's signing.
Or
Probably most
Would
of
you like
them
to go with
wouldn't even be able to read it. It's more just a significant act. So
Either
it
way.
doesn't matter what they put their
No,
mark.
I'm,
go with
so
the people
I'm thinking more about if Big Boy comes back,
You can.
I want to be able to hide it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm thinking, one, we put the portable
Yeah,
hole.
4 horses on his own
We've
now.
always got the hole, yeah.
We've always got the hole.
To be fair, that's
Two,
Are you? So you're not going to either side of the room, no?
that's why I asked where the contract was. I'm going to whoever's got the contract.
I would say it's with, like I said,
Well, it's got
multiple
signed
pieces.
papers.
It's got multiple pieces of paper.
Okay.
So there's a
I
bit gone
think I
play.
should try and stop it. Give you guys enough time. If anyone's got enough of a chance of delaying him.
I've
for a
already
long period
tried.
of time.
No, this is Gal.
Right, you're going to have to make
Oh,
a decision really quick.
Gavin.
You're going to have to tell me who's going
Which way
where.
are you going?
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait in the thing because if
Okay.
he's gonna have to go. He's gonna have to
I'm
get past.
literally going to go around rounding up the paper. I want to.
Okay.
It's time to
So
hide
you're
it.
going to go with horse then? Who's going to get?
Tomorrow, which way are you going?
If they're trying to get
I'm
out.
Yeah,
going to
I'm-
keep
yeah, so
performing,
I'm gonna
trying
be going
to
to everyone.
just
Yeah. I've got
distract,
more than
like,
enough time to
trying
walk
to
back
show
and
that
forth.
it's just an innocent.
Okay, right. So we're going to start in this area.
So
This chamber, the mineral chamber, there's lots of wooden struts holding up a ceiling that is much lower than the rest of the area. You can see this is kind of like the active work space at the moment. There's a lot of dust and you can hear a lot of people coughing in amongst the sort of work of people physically working away with axes, with their pickaxes. There's carts that the stuff is being thrown into, chunks of the ore and the rock, and there are people sort of moving laboriously under big pieces of rock that they're loading into these wagons. As you come into that chamber, you can see that there's one individual sort of cowering down by the side of the rock, and there's two guards sort of standing over them, shouting down at this half-orc who's kind of like cowering underneath them.
How many guards?
Two of them.
Two of them.
And there's this, looks like a female half-orc, and she's sort of cowering down. As you get closer, you can hear them sort of like belittling her and saying, you know, you should be able to work better than this, you scum half-orcs. You should be stronger at this.
Oh,
See, this is happening by ear, isn't it?
Yeah, that's me and Adalola.
You can't do anything.
As they see you come in, as they notice you, the guards
What would
sort
you
of
do?
stand up and
You can do anything.
look around, and they sidle off up the corridor.
So the
going
guards
up
go
right.
off.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he sort of looks up at you. And
I'll put my hand out to help her off the floor,
okay.
and I'll say, we're friends of Torrican's and Emery's. We're here to change things for the better. and then I'll turn to Torracat and I'll say, do you know this lady?
So this lady is called Nestla Harvick. She is a half orc. She's the only half orc in the mines, which makes her a target for the guards because she's just not like everybody else, and they expect for more of her, and yeah, so she's often getting bullied.
So, bearing in mind we're getting quite deep into the mine and I'm feeling a little uncomfortable with everything that's going on. Also, I'm really conscious of the fact that I'm a terrible talker.
Who's with you?
I'll pat Adalola on the shoulder. I'll say, please, you need to sort this out. And I'll cast guidance on Adalola.
Okay.
And I'll say,
Who am I talking to?
Convince the half orc to join the cause.
Nestle, the half orc.
Nestle.
Nestle.
The half orc
Nestle.
female
Nestle.
She's
who
been bullied by
Found the
2
beginning.
guys.
is bullied because she's a half orc.
Oh, honey, sweetie baby.
So she listens to what you've got to say about the plan, and she says, I need to get this truck filled before they come back. Otherwise, there'll be no point because they're just going to attack me again.
If
Can
you
you
Do
help
it,
me
let's
get this
fill
done?
this
If
And
you-
then I'll sign anything.
if
we
you
just
sign
get
or
this.
you're signing the document, we'll fill.
We'll make an assembly line.
Okay. So give me athletics check, please.
Where's your pen?
Those of you that are there.
You've got a +4 to yours as well. Oh, do I cast it? Or does she do the +4?
So yours is
It'd be a D. It'd be just extra
Oh,
D4.
the target.
9
Plus
plus
4.
5, I
So
got
you
a
roll
plus
this.
You got it.
Because I gave her guidance.
Roll a
Alright,
D.
so
Roll a
13.
D4.
How much?
So
You roll a
D4.
so
Yeah.
talk hand
That's it.
got 10. Sorry,
10 total?
10 total.
Okay.
Okay. What was it? Athletics?
So that's
What was your
not
total,
good,
Lola?
not bad. It's
What's the-
middle of the
I'm
thing.
sure
You're
I've
probably
already
going to
done
struggle with
Oh, for the extra, okay.
What was your total?
You
So it was 9 plus 3, so 12.
12 total.
Am I rolling straight? Do I have? Because does Adalola give me assistance so I roll straight?
Someone,
Don't give in, David.
someone wants these 20.
Because
What
we're
did
working as
we
a
get?
team, right? We're
What did we
working.
get all together? We got a 10.
10, 6, no, 12.
12.
So that's 22.
Well, I got a natural 20 on one roll.
Roll again for me.
14.
Okay. Which is exactly what you need to get. So, between you, the three of you managed to get enough rock up and fill it into this this wagon. And by the time the guards seem to start coming back down this way, you filled it up and you managed to get Nestla to sign the document, and you can kind of just back off a little bit, and she's able to look like she's done this herself, and they sort of look a little bit pissed that she's actually got the cart full, but they just sort of shrug and
These half orcs are pretty strong, huh? Says the guard.
Chance ignores you. Meanwhile, in the
It's horrible people.
in the grinder room, what's happening?
In the grinder room.
I'm
What is happening?
I'm gonna. I cast message.
Stop rolling a massive.
Who's in there?
So you can see various people working away and the machines going, but you see one person in particular, a small character, a gnome, who's kind of, all you can see is the back end of them as they're sort of searching through a load of stuff in one of the carts and chucking it all over the place.
guess the horse will wander over and duck over a few objects flying his way. And are you okay? Have you lost something?
No, I've lost it. You can't help me, can you? I can't lose it.
What have you lost?
My ring. My
Your
wedding ring.
Oh.
It's the only thing I've got that keeps me connected to back home. Can you help me find it?
Yeah, Phil.
I can't. It doesn't want to go in the machine.
Sure.
If it gets in the machine, it'll be ground up.
Yeah, I'll
and-
try. I'll try.
Please, you've got to help me find it.
Do you want to? Yeah, we have a look for the ring. Is it going towards a machine or is it in some of the ore barrels or?
I think it's in this cart.
Yeah, we'll have a look.
Would that be investigation, perception?
Perception check, please.
Perception.
16. Do you get advantage because Phil's helping him?
Yeah.
Oh, go on. Yeah, I'll just help
Yeah,
him.
go on.
Yeah, there we go. Ignore my roll.
16.
Um,
Tamara, do you want to?
She's gonna be like, what? Do you want to help?
She's still singing.
Did you give? Oh no, it was.
No. She gave one about
You
No.
gave them all
Yeah, yeah,
extra
yeah.
health recovery, didn't you?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah, 16.
You had a really good dig around in this cart, but with the best will in the world, you can't find. Gnome's quite small, their fingers are quite small, and by the time you've searched through it all, others come along and the cart gets dragged away and it gets tipped into the machine, and you just watch all the stuff crunch, and you just see this guy just like broken.
Oh.
That is
Ah.
I would have just tipped the cart over, personally.
Oh,
You were in there.
Even though
I'm really sorry. Where's home?
It's a village over in the mountains.
You want to get back there?
Yeah, don't we all?
You're not very well paid. Is that why you're stuck here?
We have no money. It's rubbish. We were promised proper wages, but by the time we pay for everything, there's nothing left. And it was just a memory of life back home and my wife and the children. And it's okay. It's only a thing. It's not like they're lost to me.
We're going to try and help you get some better wages, some better conditions. Maybe you won't need the ring to remember your wife and children by. Maybe you can get back to them.
proper leave, holiday pay.
I just need to get on, and he just turns round and carries on doing whatever he was doing before.
Did we get the Nestle to sign the document?
Nestle.
Yeah, Nestle.
She signed, right?
It's like 2 flowers.
She signed.
Where did I try?
She signed, which means that your total is 5. Cool. Meanwhile, you become aware of noise further down towards the entrance of the mine. Emery
Sorry.
comes up to you and says, perhaps this is the time. We need to go and stand against them.
It's fine.
We can call the people together now. I think there's enough.
Start rallying them. I will get you some time.
So you're going to make your way down the passageway, and
I will say
Emery
to
basically
I would
says-
say to Kevin, just stay out of this one. Don't want you to.
yes, sir, of course, sir. No problem, sir. So meanwhile, the rest of you, Emery is saying, let's start getting people together. Let's pull them together. We can
Then I'll draw my
make this our moment. This
I'll
is
draw my
our-
battle axe and start.
Okay. So the people that you've spoken to are talking to others around the chambers, and more people are putting down their tools and sort of stopping, and conversations going, and you see the crowd begin to come of people from different parts of the mines, and they're sort of gathering. You've probably come further down this way, but where Mel was standing, there's a gathering of maybe 20, 30, 40 people are stood there sort of looking at you expectantly, and Emery says, should we go? Should we meet them? Should we tell them that we won't let them in the mines?
We could form a line maybe across the entrance, and if anyone crosses it, they're in for a bad time.
You've got some experience with this horse.
You see, he's starting to make some placards. Save the N.
C
I don't know what the rest of it is.
C-A-T.
There's a bus. There's a bus
Sorry.
of people.
I forgot
He draws a dog.
I know how to write now.
There's a
Alright,
bus
so it's on the
and,
plan. It's happening now.
Emily says, "Come on now, it's time for action.
Let's
Shall
go.
we go out?
We've got our list. We know what we're demanding of them. We've got the people. We want better conditions. When do we want them?
Now.
Oh God.
Tiny man.
No, I was
The
going to start
timing,
playing
man.
with the child. So we're all going out, are we?
As soon as possible.
Cool.
Okay.
Alright, as we're heading down the tunnel, I
Yeah.
want to cast my mage hand, and
Okay.
I'm going to use the mage hand legend domain feature to make it invisible.
What are you doing?
Just casting mage hand, having it ready.
Cool.
Oh, no,
I've got something in mind,
Invisible pimp slap.
basically.
I'll say to Phil, did you work out where Gollander's rooms were?
I've got a good idea.
Down
I
here.
know where the
So
guards
you
sleep,
come out of the
where he
um,
sleeps specifically, not
mouth of the cave up there, and by the time you come out, so if you could just show all that lot
I said I already.
up there.
Well.
Oh, here we go.
So you are going to be sort of partway down.
Yeah,
Where you
I
are.
was standing right in the way.
I think you guys are actually right at the entry, right at the top.
Yeah.
Still.
Are you in the lead?
Jazzy, man.
I'm well ahead of you guys. I left the thing while you guys were getting yourself orderly, like in the house.
So you can see, as you lot come out with the crowd of people behind you, stood some way ahead of you is Mal, and approaching you, you can see Gallander and a good number of the guards marching towards you, and you can see Gallander is somewhat surprised at what's going on to see this group of miners just now, still with some of their equipment, just stood in a line across the entrance to the mine.
After we come out of the mine, looking around, can I see any kobolds in the bushes or the trees or whatever? Just on the outskirts.
Give me a perception check.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's 17.
Yeah, you're pretty sure you can see a few little heads poking up over some of the rocks and out of the trees.
I'm gonna cast message, which is just basically allows me to speak and only the people I speak to hear it.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say to these guys, the kobolds are here, and I'll yeah, and that's it.
Okay. So,
No, you guys know it's me. It's just you're the only ones that can hear it.
Yes, but if someone just started speaking in your head that wasn't
No,
your
it's not
own
in your
voice-
head. It's not in your head. So I speak
Oh,
it,
oh,
but
okay.
only you guys can hear it.
Right. Okay.
That's fine.
I
fair.
think
What
message.
did you say?
I think message is in.
I just
there,
said the
doesn't it?
kobold. No, it says that you whisper a sentence that only the person you choose can hear, and they can reply, and only you can hear it.
Okay.
Basically.
so Gallander sort of steps forward from the guys, and he just looks over his shoulders, and you just like to stay here. And he says, "What's going on?"
You've been stealing? Making these conditions quite poor?
What are you on about?
You have made conditions unbearable for the workers. They have decided that you are no longer the right fit to lead them.
They have decided. They don't get to decide anything here. That's my job.
They do today.
They have
Get
today.
back to work.
I'll make this easy for you. Either you leave willingly, or I will make you leave.
Well, that's not going to happen. They need to go back to work, or they need to leave, and we'll just get new workers in.
No, they're gonna stay. They're gonna work this mine. You're leaving.
So I was just going to slowly go to a crossbolt and stroke it.
Oh, my axe is already gone.
Yeah, I'd imagine all the weapons, right? That's just standard.
Gallagher, I think you need to come back to Sunderstadt with us and have a chat with Angmar.
Galander looks at you and he just turns around to his guys and he says, "Are we ready for a rumble?"
Before we go into this,
You ungrateful bastards, he says.
before we go into
The
this,
company gave you work, we paid you, we gave you somewhere to sleep, and this is how you treat us.
No, we've not been paid.
We're going to enjoy this.
can I send
I
my
definitely
invisible mage hand to the tiny
I
shoelace?
definitely have.
No one's
Yeah, I'll roll
been paid.
disadvantage
We're
for
going
it,
to help some
okay?
people.
For initiative. 19 and 11, so he's got an 11. Right, so I'm on 11.
I want it to fall when he goes to charge, man.
Oh, we're doing
I
initiative.
want it to make
Yes,
an absolute
please.
fool of himself.
Right. So initiative.
Who we got?
An initiative
Green.
with
So
disadvantage,
you
Phil.
go to
I got a 10 still though, so
Red.
15.
Natural
At the top.
20.
there should be.
Orange.
And an 18.
So you have to roll this.
21.
Whatever you roll is just the roll.
Plenty, man.
Purple.
3.
21 at
Is
disadvantage.
that
me.
you?
I am.
Yeah, red.
I got blue. Blue is me.
Red, Neddy.
So
Not
I
white.
am-
Marvellous.
Okay.
And Carly is white.
Boom chart. Oh, there we go.
There you go. So what happens this thing here, initiative, it decides on who
What's
does
your
what when.
dexterity?
So you've got quite low,
Me?
so you'll be
Oh,
see what who's hit.
my dexterity is a
It's
1.
You can help
Okay.
someone else.
What?
So it's quite
Plus
a good
1.
one.
You know.
Oh.
Plus 1.
Yeah.
Okay, you're still going. Oh.
May your path is up, please. You've got to remember you're white.
Right. Dexterity for tomorrow?
Dexterity is
Still was 20.
Is it?
His dex, yeah.
Alright.
16.
That's a 15 anyway, not a 13.
Okay.
My bad. Do you want me to?
Cool. No, that's okay. Doesn't matter. Right. Why is it always you that ends up starting off? Because it never works well.
It's quite fitting though.
And to be fair, I've got a whole.
He's
whopping
definitely
plus
the
6.
angriest of us all.
I've got a whole whopping +6 to my initiative, and I'm still middle of the pack. Well, actually, no, right towards the end.
Right, so this lot are going to come first. They're going to come barreling forward. So there's going to be a line of them.
Oh. Oh no.
Does he fall over his shoelaces?
I'll give you a straight roll off against
So,
him.
What am I rolling for? Oh, just a straight roll.
you
Damn!
No.
God damn.
Oh, no, sorry. Wait.
Okay.
Okay, which one's Golander?
The one with the flowing cloak and the two
The one in the
swords.
middle.
This one?
No.
That one.
Oh, this
Yeah.
one. Okay. Am I in? I guess I'm in 60 feet.
Yeah, yeah.
I cast Fairy Fire on Golander.
Okay.
And everyone in a 20-foot cube from Golander. So.
Yeah, if each of them counts
All of
5.
them.
Yeah, so
it's
I'm going to
15
get
either
Golander
side.
in the middle,
Yeah,
and so it's going to be the 4 middle ones.
Yeah.
Need to make a Dex 14 save.
Right, so.
What was it? A 20-foot cube or 15-foot cube?
20-foot cube. But the
So
problem
it
is they're not
goes
bunched
10
together
either
anymore,
side
are
of
they?
it.
Oh, right, okay.
They're not bunched together.
I'm with you.
It was better when they were all here for me. And
Right,
then
so
when
what
they
have they
wind
got to do?
14 Dex save for each of them.
So he fails,
Golander.
yeah, and then the one we're going to the dwarf to this side is it's also a fail.
Yeah. Axeman.
Fails, I mean by
And then
attacking.
this one. Axeman.
Fails,
Okay, so the 4 in the middle,
including Golander.
including Golander. So you'll see Gwyn kneels down to the ground, grabs some of the dirt, and as he gets up, he'll blow it, throw it out, and it will come down glittering on all of them. And first of all, they all now shine like fairies. And 2, all of them, everyone now has advantage on attack rolls against them.
Yeah, buddy.
And
Yeah, buddy.
as a bonus action, once I've done this, I'm gonna start running towards them. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So I'm sort of next to Mal.
Yeah.
And I'll say, make sure you know who you're hitting this time, to Mal. And I'll turn into a bear, a brown bear.
I have no
Cool.
qualms about this one.
So, have you...
Can you see on the first shelf, on the very back row,
There's a best.
the bear standing up on the left-hand side?
Yeah.
You can grab him.
I'm
Not the
That one?
gorilla or the dragon, please. Just the bear.
Yeah.
Are you sure you don't want the gorilla?
Gorilla would be awesome. And so I'll, as I'm running, then I get there, I'll turn into the bear, and they're all shining, and I'll just roar at all of them. And I'll be next to Mal, sort of, now that's it.
Can I repeat his roar in the best way possible?
Yeah, so some incoherent noise.
It's a war
Okay,
cry
cool.
of
And
theirs.
yes, so it'll be these 4. Everyone's got advantage against.
Cool.
The horse seeing Gwyn blow glitter all over the 4 sort of in the middle. He's going to sort of start to stride as he does. He's going to take his hand axe out from his belt.
Don't mess with the silver.
The word and the spell is a
What?
bit different here, but this is just for flavour, if that's okay.
It's good, it's good.
And he's going to
Yeah, that's what I
grab
love.
his shoulder and he's going to launch it as hard as he can at Golander,
What's he launching?
his hand axe.
Right.
As he does, this really cold breeze comes from sort of just over the crest of the entrance to the mine and catches the axe, and it goes, picks up speed, flying straight towards Golander,
Cool.
and he needs
So you're
to
rolling
make
with advantage.
a dex saving throw.
Cool.
I don't know.
Wait, what did I just witness happen?
Hopefully just done.
You just coat your spear in ice.
19,
Is that what just went
11.
down?
Exactly 11.
Damn it. Okay.
Does that count as... oh no, it's advantage attack.
That's it. Yeah, the axe goes whizzing past him, I guess.
Does it not hit normally? As
No,
well?
Is there a
no,
half
it's-
thing?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So following his axe, he's just gonna start striding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
25.
He's gonna action surge. No, he's not actually.
So
He's
you've been
gonna stay there.
behind that great
Yeah,
figure
he's
there.
gonna stay there.
Cool.
Maybe two.
Philip.
Philippe to you.
Big Phil.
Yeah, I would like to move up to just between these two,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd like to aim my bow through the middle of them, right at Galander,
Okay.
and I'll go for an attack.
So you're going to get advantage.
2 tens
Not
for
with
a
it.
total
Is your exhaustion ability checks and attacks?
of. No, it's not
Just,
attack.
just ability checks.
17.
It's third level, that's attacks.
Lovely.
Okay.
And because I have advantage on the attack, it does sneak attack because of the dexterity
Okay.
weapon.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So,
You've been the games expert.
what will it be? It will be.
Where's my he's at 6th level is death.
16 points of damage.
Good. You just watch as this arrow comes between you and the bear, and it strikes Galander in the sort of lower abdomen. Just misses the leather armor breastplate. of
And
Galander.
what? Looking at him, does he have any other weapons on his person?
He's carrying 2 swords, which he looks.
Is he wielding 2 swords, or is he
2
holding
swords.
one?
He's got 2 swords.
So he's holding them. Yeah. Okay.
2
He's
swords.
got anything else?
Dagger on his
It's okay.
belt.
Okay. Can I, as a bonus action, using my cunning action, can I get my mage hand to my invisible mage hand to swipe the dagger out of his holster. So it says I can use it to retrieve or stow objects on a person. And it says to do it, I would have to roll sleight of hand.
Yeah, go on then. Let's try it.
So is this a disadvantage?
Yeah,
It's an ability
yeah,
check.
it's an ability check. So.
But you're also getting an advantage against him, so I'll let you roll it straight. I know it's it's not an attack, but he has got this shit going on around him. From
Yeah, I mean his dagger will be glowing, right? Like the whole, he's just...
Yeah, so you can roll it straight.
That is 19 total.
Okay. He no longer has a dagger. Oh my goodness, I'm so tired. Yeah, let's just call it quits. Yeah, so the dagger just, he doesn't even notice it. He's so
Yeah. I'm just going to go
Hell
mage
bent
hand to
on
like go and dash it in a bush somewhere.
cool. Okay,
Mara?
Tamara.
She is going to walk forward 25 feet, please, with her crossbow out, and she will fire at Mr. Gugugugugug.
Okay.
Good.
Yep. 8 plus 5.
Is it Golander?
Yes.
Yeah, so you get
Advantage?
advantage.
So I get to roll again.
Yeah.
15 plus 5, 20.
Hits.
And then I roll 1d6 plus 3. 4.
Total
Damage.
4.
Yep.
Okay. So the crossbow bolt just whizzes through, catches him in the arm, lower arm.
Yeah.
But he's got a crossbow bolt straight through his wrist, basically.
Ooh.
And now it's this lot are going to have their go.
Excuse me. Can I go?
What colour are you?
Wait, I'm after. You're not blue.
I'm purple.
Oh, you're purple. Sorry.
Yeah.
So that's to
Then-
wait a
then
little
it's
bit
me.
longer.
Then it's me. Then it's.
Okay, so they're just going to all rush forward. They've all got hand weapons, and none of them have got ranged weapons. So Galander and the dwarf next to him are going to line up against Horst. The two on the other side are going to run towards the bear.
Well, that's
We'll
why it's
decide
up.
how happy they are about that. The two on, in fact, the other one is going to come to Horst as well, and then the other two are going to come try and get past towards probably 1 and 1. Yeah.
Ooh. I've never had a one-on-one before.
So we're going to start with the two.
That was much dirtier than
So remember, it's these four.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
We've heard you been to the tavern.
Look.
We don't believe
Okay.
that.
Just because I have tassels.
There's two of them are going to attack the bear.
The bear. El Bearito.
Got 11,
Bears don't get packed out.
15 to hit with one of them. And it's going to do 7 points of bludgeoning damage on the bear. The other one missed. There's 3 of them are attacking Horst. So the first one, Captain, is doing... Right, now he gets 3 attacks on you. So the first is a 3 that misses. Another 3 that misses. 21.
Yeah.
So he hits doing
You guys have to feed the first
4 points of slashing damage. And then
I think
the
I'm
other
good.
2.
Tank is to take damage, not to be in the front. Just to take damage.
13
You can take damage from wherever you want to be.
It's be in the way.
and
You
a
know.
16.
You're in one
Just
guy's
hits.
way.
But I think
he does
I think I might leave him for Phil.
4
Other than
points of
the
slashing
fact I've got
damage.
relatively low AC.
One of them
how long
attacking
you are in
Malvar has a 21 to hit,
That hits.
and he's going to do 8 points of slashing damage.
Don't forget to everyone, you still have your 16 hit points.
And then the last one has
You're
a
welcome.
14 to hit against Tamara.
Would my bear still have the 10 hit points?
I have 14 armor
Yeah.
class.
So that
It's just your.
hits.
It hits.
Plus the 10 points.
It's
And
just
that's
whatever your HP
7
is plus your
points
10.
of slashing damage.
7 points of damage, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. Blue.
I am going to ignore that guy,
Okay.
and I'm just going to go straight after the captain.
Okay, so as long as you stay in base-to-base contact with him, which you can, you won't get opportunity attack against you. So you can just whack him from behind.
As a
No, if you're going for the captain.
yeah, I'll take
Okay,
I'll
so
take the
you take
opportunity attack.
opportunity attack. 21
Yeah, hits.
and take 6
21?
points of damage.
That's fine.
21.
I am going to, as a bonus action, cast Hunter's Mark on the captain.
Okay.
I am going to
Nice.
do my attack with advantage. Natural 20.
Okay, double damage.
I am also going to do a first level smite on him as well.
Okay.
You'll get double
You know what
damage
that's
on
like.
the Hunter's Mark as well.
I know.
That's
No,
good
he
shit.
doesn't. No, he does
How
not.
much damage might do?
Maybe.
It's a 1d.
Did you
I see the
1d8.
flash, they'll just growl.
Do an extra. Hang on. You can expend one slot to do an extra 2d8.
It's my own fault, but.
Okay, so it'll be 2d8
You
plus
fell.
1d8 for everything, so it's 2d8
Do you
plus
flinch
D.
at the sight of the flash?
Yeah, that's
D6
what I was
for Hunter's
thinking.
Mark.
Hang on, I've got a d6.
Holy shit.
This is going to be
You
big.
can see.
It's gonna be
This is going to be
unless he
big
rolls
damage.
6 ones, but
And my thingy damage as well.
so it's double damage.
Yeah.
Hunter's Mark, smite.
Yeah. Okay, so it'll be
Can I get a
2d8.
sneak attack as well?
2d8 for the divine
Divine Smite.
plus.
Okay.
So I rolled shit on my Hunter's Mark, but that's 16.
Well, that's pretty good. Then you're going to roll all that again.
Yeah. 16,
Good stuff.
12, 13 on that.
What's it again?
So it's
Yeah,
double,
you
double
nat
damage.
20. So you
Double
double all the
dice.
dice. Double all the dice and then add your
It's
15,
um,
Uh,
modifier.
sorry, 11, 17,
Because you're rolling dice for things like Hunter's Mark and all that, you still double them on an advanced
23.
skill. On a nat 20, sorry.
So what was that? That's 23. That's
Plus
Well,
the
I mean,
16,
if the DM proves double the dice.
39.
plus I forgot to add my for my attack. Hang on. Oh, where's my actions? That's plus 3 on top of my
Okay, so 42 altogether. Okay. You just watch as Mal just comes sort of running in, absolutely focused on him. There's stuff going on all over the place, weapons blowing all out on him, slashing left, right, centre, head, body, legs. He sort of stumbles and falls because he's barely got life left in him. He is just about alive.
This is good. Yes.
Why?
That's it.
That's probably enough, I would think. Yeah, sufficient.
I would reiterate his choice. Leave now.
He's just
Come with us back to
He's got
Stanley.
wounds opening up all over him, and he's just that anger and arrogance is turning into fear, just in that moment. Next.
Say that fairy fire was very useful.
I don't know her strength, so she's gonna move up. Can I scale these rocks, or is that
Um,
Can I run away?
you can if you so wish. Yeah,
yeah? Just to get a good angle.
to get up
I
higher.
have like 150 range, so I'm
Okay.
really worried about. Just don't want to hit anyone I don't want to hit. In there. Actually, no, I want to hit them. So I cast Hunter's Mark
As a bonus action.
on Axie Guy as a bonus action. So that gives me an extra d6.
I was going to do compel duel, but I think
Spell slotted.
Oh, what?
compel duel. So basically, I force him to just be
And
focused
to be-
on me.
Or
Oh, okay.
can't do
Long
anything
roll
else.
20, that plus 8.
And there's one of my paladin, one of the spells I get from my paladin.
13.
13 to hit.
Advantage, right?
Same as
You have
my
advantage,
smart.
yeah?
Yeah.
13
Yeah.
hits.
I really
Anyway,
enjoyed
do
using
it
But
on
roll
your
anyway,
constitution.
just in case you roll a 20.
a ranger in my other company.
No, that's okay.
A 2.
13 hits.
God damn it.
Lucky for me
Plus a
today.
d6.
Yeah.
Plus
D6, yeah.
I know. That's the nat 20. Not bad.
11.
Good shit.
Okay, cool.
Who was that to?
The,
Excellent.
Okay, cool.
cool. Anything else? Over to you.
Your turn.
This is where you run in and kill everybody.
Yeah. So you can walk. I'd suggest because
However,
with your weapon.
You're a dwarf, and you're probably not going to get that far.
So you're going to be able to get to about where I stood because we were stood next
Yeah.
to each other. Okay. So would you like to move forward?
Yes, please.
Oh God, sorry.
Just
Take
As long as
Yeah.
as long as it's
Take me out in the process.
Take everyone out. So you can choose then a person that's an enemy.
I mean, to be fair,
So
you've got
here's
the one that
one,
I
right?
left.
So there's an enemy there.
Right
so
in front
you
of
can
you.
use your
Yeah.
great axe to hit him, or you can. Which one's better?
It's really
That
good.
one.
She's a sleeper agent.
So
Just TP
can I use my
please,
great
isn't
axe?
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to roll a 20-sided dice.
This
Yeah.
one, and you can a plus 6.
it? So she
7
was,
plus 6
and that was
is
on the floor.
13. 13.
Right, that hits because his armor class is 11.
Right,
So
and then you see here it says damage. So you roll 1d4. Wow, I can't do that.
Damage from a great axe.
Oh, sorry, 1d12. There we go. Bloody hell, well done. And plus
I
4
know.
to that one. Plus 12?
That's 1d12
Plus
Plus
4,
four.
sorry. 8.
okay. So you come
And that's with
strutting
slashing
down the road, and you basically just smack him with a big hammer. And he goes, "Ow!" Yeah, he's hurt, but he's not
You've just gone.
not incapacitated.
How dare you?
Back to the top, Gwyn.
Uh,
Sorry,
Brings
Bruce.
all in.
I'm going to go for this one because he's shining.
Okay. So you get 3 attacks, don't you? One bite and 2 claws, or
2 attacks, 1 bite, 1 claws, but
Okay.
they'll both be at advantage.
cool.
So, yeah, I'm going to try and bite. Oh shit. Advantage. 17.
Hits.
So that's a d8 plus 4. 6. And then I'm going to claws. 18.
Hits.
10. So, what was the first one?
6.
6. So 16 in total. And so I'm just going to chomp down sort of on his shoulder. And as I've chomped down, I'll sort of rip it up. And as I rip it up, I'm just going to swipe with my paw and just try and send him flying.
Okay. So he's sort of loses his balance a little bit. He's quite severely injured, but he's still able to hold his ground.
That's me.
Cool.
Right, it's me. So as Gondor came sort of running forward, Horse sort of grabbed his spear off his back and sort of knelt down in the dirt, ready to meet him, like sort of hoplite style, I guess. Yeah, and as
Mal just go, whack!
pumps his smites and everything in, Horse is just gonna ram the spear up and try and catch him as he's sort of
Okay.
off balance. Still got fairy fire?
Yeah. It's concentration for.
What was my plus? 19
Hits.
hits. And it's 1d8 plus 3. It's a d10, I think. That's a d10.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, the eggs.
So it'll be 9 points of damage.
Oh, you was fine. You did it with the +3.
Did I? Okay.
Do you want to explain what happens?
Yeah, as he sort of
You've seen him
falls.
battered by all of this stuff from Mal, and he's sort of staggering and.
Yeah, as he sort of falls onto the spear. I know this is a little bit outside the 6 seconds. But a horse is going to pull out a dagger or a knife or something like that and catch his head as it goes down. He's just going to try and straight through the neck if he can and take the head off.
Cool.
Carly said, that's a trying to step on the mouse.
Yeah, so you watch as he was fixed on Mal and everything happened, and then he just turns
Bear
and
likes
realises that there's this spear that's just gone straight into his heart, and then as he feels his life just drifting away, dagger comes across, head in his hand. At which point, all the others just drop their weapons on the floor.
Damn it! My first one-on-one.
Your first one-on-one, you've won. Didn't even have to let.
And they just drop and stand there. Who's next? Because we're not out of combat yet. They've dropped their weapons, but we're still in the combat round, so it's up to you what you do at this point.
Do you know when we were out on the patrol? There was one overly vicious guard that was in the forest and decided to go hunting these little things as they were running from them. Is he amongst these guys?
Yeah.
I want to kill him. No, he's the only other one that stuck in my mind as like.
So
you did it for fun.
Stood on
sick
the end.
bastard, like.
No, this end, that one there.
This one here.
Yeah.
The one that's not didn't get affected by fairy
Yeah, the one
fire.
without.
That's fine. I'm going to pull out my two daggers and.
You'd get advantage anyway because he's dropped his weapons and he's sort of so you can have advantage.
Yeah, I'm going to pull out my two daggers and just run at him.
Okay.
Go for it.
Do you want to yell something while you're running?
No. I'm just gonna run and jump at him with two daggers.
This is not a problem.
To be fair,
This is what I do. It's
biggest
fine.
problem.
When he
that's-
does it, it's not a problem.
That's a good point.
A
Let's
22
take on it.
and a 19.
Hit.
I can't do anything with that anyway. If you shout with like, this is for the kobolds, I probably would like.
And
Yeah, I'd be into that. Alright.
2d6.
A brief interaction with them really nice.
Don't
Yeah,
you?
I saw one with this. They look great.
Don't know what you might put it down, but
Not a good one.
20 points of damage.
20.
Total.
Okay. So
That's with sneak attack.
you just come in with those two blades and just
It's going to make editing very hard.
stab, chop, slice, and just
Yeah, and as
cut
I
him to pieces.
as
No,
I
I'm
jump down
dying.
the daggers,
Do you want
I look up at the rest of them and I just shout, "Run!" to the enemies.
it's stuck.
Okay, so he drops to the floor, sort of basically quartered in one move.
Yeah, and that's.
Okay.
we go back to now?
Tamara.
Yes. I would like to intimidate the man that's dropped the weapon in front of me, please, and just be like growl at him.
Intimidate them even
I
more.
want to intimidate. I want him to piss himself.
Okay. Do
Can
an
I-
intimidation.
Intimidation.
Yeah. You do it with
16
advantage.
plus 4,
because
20. Yeah, no, 20.
Okay. He's already shot himself because he's seen.
I want to use the
Okay.
bear noise that just grr, kill.
Which kind of comes out as woof.
You actually bring out the dial.
Yeah. Just, something's happening, and yeah, I just.
Okay.
You guys have become bloodthirsty since.
So
I didn't attack. I just
the
wanted
rest
to
of them are just going to try and take a step backwards, starting with. So the one on the end is down. On the other end is down. So the one next to you is going to take a step backwards. Now that means you've got opportunity attack if you wish to.
No, I'll just growl then.
Okay, and then the two in front, of course, are going to step backwards. They've dropped their weapons, they're stepping backwards. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Which one?
just the guy who's closest to him.
Okay.
He's more doing this out of blind
Okay.
anger and
This is when
rage
like,
advantage, yeah?
Yes.
That, like,
Yeah,
if he was
very
a good
good.
character, he'd have let him go. But because
Not going to hit him.
No,
it's chaotic, you
neither of them hit.
So if you swing, it just
Mm.
No, it might just.
The +5.
Yes, it will then. 12
Yeah.
will hit. Yeah.
Cool.
I was going to say great, you know.
Yeah. 5 points of damage.
Which takes him up to 16, just barely alive, and somewhat surprised that you just attacked him, having dropped his weapon and stepped backwards. We go down to Mal.
I ain't going to attack.
You're not going to attack.
I'm not going to attack
No.
anything. They've lost the will to fight.
Lola.
No, I will hold until one of them attacks.
Okay, so the one in front of you that you just bangs over with the big axe has stepped backwards, dropped his
I
weapon.
mean, has this guy previously insulted you? Has
You
he?
can decide to hit him if you want to.
Has he spoken to you like trash when
I'm
you've
not
eaten lunch?
allowed to because I've worked there, so these guys are assholes. So.
You would like to hit them
Yeah,
again?
I'm gonna hit
Yeah?
them again.
So you do the same with the
I've
thing
worked
again?
there.
Yeah.
Then
So
myself, I was going to say.
this plus 6,
That I can't do. You, on the other hand, I'm going to be
12. Does 12 hit?
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah, and that would
Yeah,
be
but you didn't see what we see
D12 plus
in the last
4.
session, man.
No.
That's why I asked about
8.
like a specific
Total?
person
Okay.
because
so
there was one that
that
was
was
like
15.
really vicious and
He's
like
still alive,
actually
just
like hunted it
So
down.
you've
Like,
Again,
just
he's
tried
quite
to kill it and I was like,
shocked,
like you sick bastard.
surprised that you just smacked him again with
And
this.
like I said with the mouse, that's for them.
Don't forget, she's also just witnessed
Yeah.
the half orc
Okay,
ability.
so we're
Yeah.
through the round of combat. So
I'm all about vengeance. apparently.
now you've
There you
really
go.
got to justify if you're going to do anything else more.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, I was giving you reaction to what had gone on. We're now going to a new round of combat, so
No, Phil's just putting his weapons away.
bearing in mind your alignment and everything else.
So I'm going to walk over to this guy, and I'm just gonna. I'm not going to do a full attack. I just want to shove him to the floor.
He'll just drop down to the floor.
Okay.
He'll
And
just-
then I'm gonna walk over Scolander's body.
Are you going to drag it into the forest or something?
Let him
This style,
piss
maybe?
on
No.
you or something.
And then I'm gonna piss on him. And I'm just gonna. And at this point, I'm looking at the one that I've just pushed to the floor, and I'm just gonna start like roaring like mad at him.
He's on the floor as prone as it's possible to be.
He's also pissing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, and
lots
that's-
of
yeah.
piss.
Sure indeed.
Pissed on them and they pissed on themselves.
Yeah. And that's my move.
Okay.
I'm done.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Horst is in a bit of a red mist. Yeah, it's a bit of a build-up for the last few days of what he's seen and yeah, how these guards have behaved towards him. So yeah, he's going to step forward.
I don't know, have any of them actually started running?
No, they just step backwards.
And he's going to thrust his spear down towards
Okay.
him.
Hits.
Hit.
It's going to kill him if it hits him.
Yeah.
So your spear just drives into his chest and he just collapses to his knees on the floor with
This one.
absolute shock. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so this one's
Laying-
alive, but
yeah,
on the floor.
laying down.
Yeah, and he just looks at the guy next to him with the axe and just sort of.
Okay. Tamara. Sorry, Mal. You are Phil. Tamara, Mal, Phil, everybody. Right. Phil is just putting his weapons away and
Yeah, he's just putting his weapons away,
okay.
walking over to forgot her name, Cole something.
Toriko.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, just say you'll bring better to your people and your friends.
Should kill this one.
No, he's
No,
not
he's
not
very
quite
injured.
dead.
Sorry, what did
Very
you say
hurt.
to her?
just said we'll bring better to your people and your friends, and yeah,
So you can
I'll
decide
start
where
heading
you
back
stop.
towards the mine to see if there's anybody still left in there. Then I know that there's safe to come out. That kind
I
of
would
stuff.
also start announcing that a
Aww.
certain someone is dead.
Murder rage.
Okay.
Oh yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Tamara.
Are you still fighting? Can Tamara move towards Horst and try to
Yeah, because you can go through.
I can
I
go
was-
through, yeah.
I was
Will
gonna say,
you
like,
incur opportunity attacks?
No, they've dropped their weapons.
Did
Can
and
I
then-
can I try and hold his hand, please, to try and stop him? And one sec.
It's always my opportunity.
I'm gonna
I've done
piss
that
on his
last
lap now.
time as well. Just try
Um,
to calm him down.
Hold on, sorry, I'm just trying to double check what I'm reading. Don't think I can. Sorry. Can I try and convince him just through
Yeah, do a persuasion check.
persuasion to
Persuasion.
What's your constitution?
Con.
No, but let's go.
Charisma?
No, this is more about what you know. This is about wisdom.
Wisdom. 14 plus
Okay.
15.
Okay, so you, in that red mist, you start to hear the voice of Tamara and just speaking calmly into your head.
Just trying to hold his hand and like get him to back down.
Okay.
Cool.
You've got it. You've done it.
The two in front of you are gonna kneel down on the floor, as is the one in front of you gonna kneel down.
Yeah, as soon as Horse feels Tamara's hand sort of on him, he does sort of look, he does flinch a little bit, confused to who it was, and he almost goes to grab you, but as he turns and looks, he sort of exhales quite deeply and goes, fucking pricks.
Absolutely fucking pricks.
Calm a little bit.
Absolutely fucking pricks. You've done it though. They're done.
So there are 4 of them alive in various states of aliveness, from quite banjoed to
Banjo.
pissing themselves.
To being pissed on.
Yeah, he doesn't know he's being pissed on.
Are you still holding his head?
Yeah, he's going to tie the head to his belt by the head.
Alright, Geralt.
Okay.
Trophy.
You kind of probably Adalola is aware first from where she is that behind you that crowd of miners is just utterly silent in what they've just witnessed. They're just kind of overwhelmed by what they've seen. From out of the bushes you see the kobolds sort of moving out, and again there's some, it's not delight, it's kind of, they're all looking sort of quite overwhelmed by what they've just witnessed.
I think everyone needs to remember that they attacked us first.
I gave him the opportunity to surrender.
I learned from the warehouse.
Can Tamara raise her voice?
I wasn't about to be sad about it. They deserve to die.
Do we have to roll initiative against the kobold?
Yeah, and the miners.
Tamara,
Scatter! Everyone runs.
Of course, that's when then.
can Tamara raise her voice to address everyone and say, this is not something we take pleasure in, but she is going to nudge Horst as if to say, as if Horst
Stop
to say,
grinning.
stop, yeah. And she's just going to say, this is not something we take pleasure in, but seeing your suffering, it hurts us.
Has forced us to move.
It hurts us, and we just wanted it to be better for you. no matter the circumstances it came from, we're sorry.
And the bear isn't with us.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet, have you?
No.
Yeah, and she's just going to sort of look around at the crowd.
So,
Fair point.
I don't know whether I need to roll
It's
for any
fair
kind of
point.
persuasion or...
no.
No, I did.
So there's a few minutes of just stillness and everybody's taking in what's just happened. Yourselves included. This moment of sort of just explosion of all these emotions and the things that you've seen.
I feel like I'm going to have
I think
to
filling
line
this
up the
situation
story.
would actually
When
be
they surrender,
very
you don't
clear-headed, very clear of conscience, very sort of, we tried, they made the first move, and the people who needed to die deserved to die, they died.
And as you are sort of getting yourselves sorted out, Grishtar and Tar come forwards from out of the trees with other kobolds, and some of the sort of those that have become more prominent in the miners move forwards, and Grishtar says, they were our enemies, but we should respect them in their death.
As they're saying this, I pick up half of Gollander's body in my mouth, just throw it in the air, throw it toward, because I'm not really listening, I'll throw it towards the kobolds as sort of, it's like a weird
As an
offering.
Okay. And they all sort of just step back and look. And Grishtar speaks to Tar, and she says, we need this to be brought to an end in a proper way. And she's sort of speaking out to all of you. And she says, we recognise what you've done, and it needed to be done, but now it needs to end.
We'll start slowly, sort of, post adrenaline dump, exhausted. What would you like us to do with them? The rest of these guards, the bodies?
The bodies need to be burned.
The rest of the guards, I believe, they need to pay for what they've done. They may not have done it like willingly, but they still subjected you to.
So Menia, the leader of the caravan, says,
I have a question.
I suggest that they should be taken back to Sunderstone, and you should come with us to explain what's gone on here to Stonemire.
It's either that or we could write. We've still got to go elsewhere, don't we?
We're going on to Nalhelm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we could go back
Because
to
it's like,
stuff.
well, it's either that, yeah, go back to Sunderstad, or I can write a letter to Captain Bartman.
Well, Menia is happy to take them back and make sure that they're handed over to.
Yeah, I'd say convince him to testify and say, because I'd imagine quite a few of them would know of his shady dealings as well.
Okay. So this sort of deal gets brokered. You had a question you wanted to ask.
I was going to ask him, in like the world of Faerun, are there laws for that kind of stuff, like people that are being mistreated in work, or like is there like actual?
So that will be down
They have
to.
labels.
Yeah,
That will
yeah.
be
Is
down
that,
to
I don't
the-
know if that's a thing. Is that in this in this kind of world?
I think that'll be down to whatever the guild have to say in the city.
Okay.
And I imagine
Um,
the guilds would be more interested in fair treatment because
Yeah.
you get more money
Well, yeah, like I don't know. That's what I mean. That's why I said I have a question because
Yeah.
I didn't know. So
I
Except
think
these,
there's
these
no
guys are being paraded as workers, but treated
written
like slaves.
legislation against what you're doing, but it will be: is this fair? Is this right?
We still got
They
enough.
will certainly, I think, want to have a chat with Stonemeyer and find out whether he's been, complicit in what's gone on here, which would be
Who's Stonemeyer?
the
guy.
guy at the office
Oh.
who sent you.
The big rock one.
Yeah. So I think
But
there'd be some.
Makes us a lot of things as well, because we've got a lot of sway with the other bigwigs in Sunderland.
Big wigs.
Cool. So it just goes on, and you deal with that, and the body's taken away. The kobolds go and they set up a pyre, and the bodies are burned. The leaders of the kobolds meet with the dwarves and the two dwarves from the mines, and with the other sort of significant members of the mining crew, and begin to talk, and they work out how they can sort of make plans to allow the kobolds to still occupy the land, the property, but still make some.
So, as long as they can coexist.
That happens, and they're working through that.
I'd say it would be more beneficial for them because they could probably help treat a couple of the worstly treated workers.
And by the end of the evening, you've all retired back to the camp and to the tavern, where the gnome hostess is delighted that there's going to be a lot of ale drunk tonight, even if it is crap ale. There's going to be a lot of it drunk, and some of the miners make their way into the quarters of the guards and things and retrieve some better ale, and maybe there's even a bottle or two of emerald in there as well. And it's not an extravagant celebration. It's a sort of muted celebration of justice rather than, murder. But
While this is happening, can
I'd say at least one was justice.
the
The other two was a little bit excessive.
blue material that's being mined, the crystal, is there any lying around? Are we able to? Am I able to go look for some?
where do you want to go looking for it?
I mean, to
Some
be fair,
piles of it.
to be fair, there's no one stopping us now.
In the mines, there's loads of it. There isn't any just lying
Yeah.
around.
So either
There
where
is-
there's a landings, like a warehousing for export, or
Yeah,
in
so
the
if
mine.
you go into some of the storerooms, you can find sort of processed stuff. So it's cleaned and it's brighter, and there's boxes of it.
Am I able to sort of investigate or do an arcana check on it? I'm trying to see if there's, I can sort of discern anything.
You can
Haven't
do
you got detect
arcana
magic?
check.
Yeah, but it just shines stuff. It doesn't tell you anything about it.
Tamara is going to be singing and drinking the entire night and making lots of friends with miners.
Identify is what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'll identify. That's what I would have preferred.
Yeah.
16.
You are aware that it has magical properties, but the word magical isn't really sufficient enough for what you can
Such a broad term.
ascertain about it. You can't define what it is other than it's old. It's an old power that's sort of it's in there. There's more power than it seems to possess.
I'm gonna
If that
pocket
makes
it.
any sense. How much?
Not a huge amount. Just
Open the hole.
Yeah.
Just dip the cart in.
it seems important to the kobolds, and I don't really. I'm not here for profit or anything. It's just curiosity over sort of what's hidden in the land. So just sort of a handful and slip into my backpack.
Okay. Cool. Does anybody else want to acquire, obtain, borrow, loot, plunder, steal
Like to give
I
my
says
arrow
Garland,
back.
everybody.
your arrow back? With 1 arrow.
I
I'll search Callum and see if he's got anything fun on him.
You could search Calendar's quarters as well and see if there's any
Yeah.
incriminating.
I'm gonna do I'm gonna do that as
Okay,
well.
so in his quarters you have, you come across various
I forget that looting's part of D&D.
This is not
boxes of
cool.
equipment, some money,
Taking what hours.
maybe 30, 40, 50 gold in various denominations. There's also a small wooden box which has got a number of documents in it, parchments, some written that seem to have, what is your reading capabilities?
I learned how to spell cat.
I
I
would
dog.
anyway.
I was there.
you managed
Yeah.
to get to read simple words, didn't you, by the end of it? We haven't.
Okay,
Yeah, we.
there are some big words on these bits of paper.
Like, me and Phil, I think, are like the two most like well.
Gold.
Yeah, everybody else is.
I'll give it to.
Tomorrow can actually
Yeah,
read
Yeah.
Common and
Cool.
Halfling.
Give it to Clem and say
Okay.
to
But
start
Halfling
your
is a spoken novel.
collective,
Yeah.
your cooperative.
Cool.
There are some
A
written,
gift from us.
written
Cool.
the same stuff, but it is mainly.
Jolly good.
Jolly good.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say the
And,
gold should split between the miners.
Are you just going to piss the night up in the tavern, I think?
It's the right up in the south.
Are you going to try and
That's the
hit
name of
somebody
the
yet?
song.
Move, I was going to say yours.
It's the night up in the
Quinn.
tavern. Oh, mine of plenty.